All right, I call to order this scheduled meeting for the 34th City Council for May 21st, 2024 at 7 p.m. Everyone in attendance, can you please silence your cell phones and communication devices? Can you hear me?
No, not on at all.
Okay.
Sound system.
Okay.
Random sound system.
Jackie, will you just check with them because it's on, the green light is on. All right, so I just want to remind everyone in the audience to please, to please silence your cell phones or any devices you have for communications to not disturb the meeting. Keep in mind, too, we have comment cards. If you'd like to make a comment, the cards are on either side. If you do not want to if you wish not to fill out a comment card, that's okay as well. We'll just have you be recognized by myself. Just raise your hand. We'll recognize you and have you come up after the cards are called. During the public comment section, there's two public comment sections the council has allowed it in their council rules. One's 30 minutes before the meeting agenda items, and the other one is at unlimited time at the end. Keep in mind, any comment card is regarding an item on the regular business of the council, we will hold that for that item time, okay? Oh, there you go.
Only one mic on at a time. Now that they work, please.
Well, there's only one on, it's still got the interference.
Those two are always on. No.
Is this yours?
Yeah, sure. Crank that.
Yeah, this is yours. Okay, I just want to make sure I got mine. All right, so I just want to remind everybody of that aspect. There's no shouting or yelling from the audience. We want to respect everyone here to be able to hear the person's comments, and we want to be able to hear them as well. You all will have the time. Keep in mind there's a 3-minute limitation. You will be reminded when there's 36 seconds remaining by the clerk as well. Okay? Mr. Clerk, can we please have the roll?
Councilmember Enos.
Here.
Councilmember Hammoud.
Here.
Councilmember Abraham.
Here.
Councilmember Paris.
Here.
Councilmember El Sawafi.
Here.
Councilmember Herrick.
Here.
Council President Sereni.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Council President Pro Temp Leslie Herrick.
Thank you, Council President. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Pastor Dan Ranthon of Guardian Lutheran Church, who will give the invocation at tonight's meeting. Everyone who is able, please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you for all that you do. And just a couple verses. Psalm 121, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. And we pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for every day. It's a day you give to us. We can rejoice and be glad. And we just thank you for all our leaders, our mayor, our council members, our city workers, our businesses, our residents. We're blessed in Dearborn with many, many great things. And that's not always easy, but we know that your guidance is with us. So we just pray your blessing upon this meeting tonight. Let all things be done according to your will and with your wisdom. And especially we also think tonight with Monday's parade coming up. What a blessing to remember those who gave their lives, made that sacrifice so that we can enjoy all the freedoms that we have today. So we thank you. May you bless this meeting. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. All right, Mr. Clerk, can we go on to the first item?
Item number 4 is a resolution by Council President Sereni, supported unanimously, acknowledging Abdul Hadi for his retirement from a 51-year career at the Dearborn Truck Plant and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Today we are recognizing and congratulating Abdul Al-Hadi on a long, successful 51-year career at Ford Dearborn Truck Plant. We're going to have you come up.
That's Daddy. Get up.
Absolutely. We're gonna have you come up in a minute. All right. Mr. Al-Hadi, your perseverance and strong work ethic is a great reflection of the city of Dearborn's devotion to service. As you transition into your next chapter of life, you leave behind a strong legacy of strength and resilience that will come to inspire future generations. We want to thank you for your work in our community and wish you a great retirement. So at this time, we would like to have you come to the front with your family. We're going to present you with a citation, Mr. Hadi, and we're going to have the council come down to get a photo. All right. And then we'll actually do the unanimous. We'll make it official. Okay, we're gonna have Mr. Al-Hadi right here in the middle, and his son's right this next time, and Mayor Reed will be right here. Let's get, we're gonna get a photo with our, just stay right here. Here, unless you think 73. All right, do we have his family close by? Can we read? Where's the, top of the, no. Wow, that's a lot.
What do you mean? Call him brother.
That's my money. Yeah, I can. All right, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. It's been the practice of the 34th Council to recognize these special achievements. I've always said, this is the greatest generation that I believe. You know, when you come in from another land into the United States and go to work for 40 and 50 years and raise good kids and do what's right, and it's a tremendous feat, and we thought it was definitely should be recognized. So congratulations to Mr. Abdul Hadi, and a unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item number 5 is a resolution by Council President Sereni and Council Member Hammoud recognizing May 12th through May 18th, 2024 as National Police Week in the city of Dearborn and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. This resolution recognizes National Police Week, which pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty or the safety and protection of others. We would like to recognize the brave men and women who serve not only our local community, but also across the country during this week. The 34th City Council of Dearborn recognizes May 12th through May 18th as National Police Week. This resolution shall be given immediate effect. Any questions or comments on this? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 6, resolution by Council President Sereni and Council Member El Sawafi recognizing May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as National Public Works Week in the city of Dearborn and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And this resolution also recognizes the importance of public works and facilities and services in our community and across the country. Many public works professions work around the clock to ensure communities' vital infrastructures, facilities, services, delivery of dependable, sustainable, and resistant public health. also has high quality of life as well as well-being throughout our community. The 34th City Council of Dearborn recognized the May 19th through May 25th as 2024 National Public Works Week. With this resolution shall also be given immediate effect. And I do wanted to thank our Public Works here in Dearborn for the new video. That was a good video. That was a really, I just shared it. Very, very good video informing our residents about sweeping the streets and trying to move the cars off till 4 p.m. so that the streets and the trimming can be done and keep our city nice and clean. So we do appreciate that. Any questions or comments? Okay, unanimous roll shall be attached. Okay, next item, we would like to suspend the rules for two items. One we have, is Nicole Goldich here? Okay, yes. So we'll have our DPW come up. This is an item that would have to be a walk-on. It has to do with our DTE energy savings. So I'm going to have, Mr. Clerk, this is a true walk-on, and then we have one other one. So first, we need a motion by Councilman Hammoud, and we need a support by Councilman Al-Sawafi. And any objection, unanimous roll to suspend the rules? Hearing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. So we are suspending the rules. Director Hawkins, would like to come forward and tell us the good news. I always like to see those big checks.
Council President and Council, Tim Hawkins, DPW Director. I'm here to introduce Anthony Belzik. He is our Public Facilities Administrator, Public Buildings Administrator. And with his work, I'll let him tell you about the savings that he got us.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor Hammoud, Council President Serini, council members, DPW Director Hawkins, and Deputy Director DPW Golich. My name is Tony Belzak. I'm with the Public Buildings Administrator. I'm here to talk about the Dearborn HVAC Infrastructure and Energy Initiative, resulting in a check that the city is receiving today. A lot of people talk about being green, but in 2017, the city of Dearborn began a project titled the Dearborn HVAC Infrastructure and Energy Initiative. The goals of this project were to save energy, increase comfort for colleagues and residents who work and visit our city buildings. This project involved many people, vendors, equipment, suppliers, and contractors. The engineers of record were Jim Larkin of Larkin Engineering and Vito Verskas of the Millennium Energy Company. I would also like to give recognition to the many City of Dearborn departments that participated with their time and efforts. Administration, purchasing, finance, legal, the building department, inspectors, engineering, recreation, library, police, courts, and the DPW. If I left a department out, I apologize. I was the project manager / liaison for the city of Dearborn. The project entailed removal, replacement, or upgrades for approximately 300 pieces of equipment, and they are as follows. A new building automation system throughout the Dearborn campus, which can be expanded to any building in the city because it's web-based. The system is Tritium Niagara N4. The old system was Nova. It was obsolete. Replacement parts were scarce and not easily available. We also replaced incandescent and fluorescent lighting with LED lighting in the Henry Ford Community Library, the Ford Community Performing Arts Center, police and courts, and the powerhouse. Starting in the powerhouse, we removed two 500 horsepower, 150 PSI Cleaver Brooks steam boilers that were only 70% efficient and replaced them with new Lochinvar hot water condensing boilers in each building at 95% efficiency. The steam and condensate piping was removed throughout the campus. We also installed two new Dakin magnetic bearing chillers and cooling towers, reducing electric consumption by 50% compared to the old York chillers. We increased the capacity from 1,000 tons of chilled water cooling to 1,200 tons of cooling using a 33% glycol chilled water mixture, enabling the city to start the chiller any time of the year for the anomaly days that we are getting more frequent in the winter. An example would be a large event in the theater at the Performing Arts Center in February when it's 80 degrees. In the past, coils needed to be drained and winterized before winter and then refilled and purged in the spring before you could have any summer cooling on the campus. We also shifted 300 tons of DX cooling, which is electric refrigeration in a rooftop unit, to the chilled water plant. The reason being that RTUs use 1.4 kilowatts of power per ton of cooling, where the chilled water uses 0.33 kilowatts per ton of cooling. All new pumping and frequency VFDs, variable frequency drives, were installed at the powerhouse. The library received new boilers, new air handlers, new VAV boxes, so those are variable air volume boxes, pumping VFDs and building automation system controls. But the HFCL needed asbestos abatement. The building was full of it. We had asbestos throughout the building. In the police and courts, we replaced air handlers, some dating back to 1958 from the Buffalo Air Handler Company.
Wow. Should have kept some of those for the museum.
They should have.
Yeah.
They also received a new building automation system, boilers, pumping, VFDs, VAVs, and controls. Asbestos abatement was an issue as well, but not as bad. The project was completed while the police and courts were fully operational 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In the Performing Arts Center, we installed 7 new condensing boilers, 3 large Lochinvar condensing boilers for the building heat. In the past, we had cold and hot water shower issues for a long time, and they were solved by installing 2 new domestic boilers and 2 300-gallon water tanks. We haven't really had a problem since that's been installed. The kitchens also received new boilers and tanks. The pool natatorium received 2 new dehumidification units, and that keeps the temperature at 86 degrees and 50% relative humidity year-round.
Excellent.
In the Performing Arts Centers, all the VAVs needed to be rebuilt because they went from Novar to Tritium, and then the only time that the Performing Arts Center was shut down was during the natatorium pool renovation,
Right.
where we installed the dehumidification units, the sound baffles, and the LED lighting.
All right, thank you so much. Is there more? That's it. I know it's been a while. Let's get Director Hawkins in here, Director, and then we're going to have you hand the check to the mayor, but just give us your point on, it's to the council, but the check has got to go there. We'll have him put it, we're going to recognize it as a general
Well,
appropriation.
We really came here tonight to talk about all the work that we've been doing for quite some time. Mr. Belzak has been continually working on upgrading all the facilities on the campus since 2017, and it really shows because DTE gave us a rebate back based on all of it for the amount of $204,000, $244, which is pretty impressive when you think about all the energy usage that we saved, and we did enough of it that they gave us a rebate in the energy savings.
We do appreciate it. I know the council, and I know the administration has been working on, throughout the city of upgrading energy costs, because there is tremendous savings, especially things that were in the 60s and 70s. So we do appreciate that. So
I make just a
Director
quick-
Hawkins is, maybe you have something you
Yes,
want
I
to
made
add?
a quick comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I probably understood 15% of what Tony said. I'm not the engineer, and God bless you for what you do. What I want to highlight, Tony is obviously one of the senior leaders within our Public Works Department. He's extremely humble, and a lot of the work that his team does is behind the scenes. It's at the powerhouse. Nobody wonders if the lights are going to turn on when you flick the switch. Nobody wonders if the HVAC unit's going to work when you change in the temperature. And we all have variation of what we would like within our offices and such. But Tony makes sure that it all runs around the clock. And what he's phenomenal at is when he has a extremely well-trained workforce, he builds them up and upskills them in an environment where asking questions is acceptable. It's the environment where you can come in with questions, not have all the answers. And Tony has his own way of ensuring that you know what you need to do to upskill yourself and take yourself to the next level. That's what he does phenomenally well. And the public works staff will tell you that Tony's one of the best managers and leads that we have across the whole city. And so I do want to take a moment to also highlight the work that he does on that front as well. And thank you, Tony, for all that you
Thank
do.
you, Mayor. And just for the record, we're saving 2,100,000 kilowatt hours per year.
Right, which is also good for the environment on top of it. So Director Hawkins, before you place it, let me just put it on the record. for the clerk. The resolution is to indicate that the Detroit DTE Energy Efficiency Program for Business is enclosed a rebate check that shall be appropriated and recognized by the council of $204,244.61 to be deposited into the general fund. We do need an offer on that? Offer. Okay. Yeah, all right, so we have an offer by Councilwoman Herrick and a support by Councilman El Sawafi. Any objection to unanimous roll? Okay, Mr. Clerk, unanimous roll shall be attached. Thank you very much, Director Hawkins. If you could just leave that, check over there so we can get it into the bank. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Tony. Thank you for all your work. Really do appreciate that. Okay, Mr. Clerk, before we go to our rest of the meeting, we do have an item that we would like to bring forward as well under the suspension of rules. What, do you have the number, Jenny?
Number 39?
Yeah, number 39. All right,
So
Mr. Clerk, you could go to 39.
Resolution by Council President Sereni, supported unanimously, offering condolences to the family of Mohammed Mosayan and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mohammed Mosayan was born on March 2nd, 1951, and passed away on May 8, 2024. He was a lifelong resident of the city of Dearborn and a devoted husband to his now late wife, Huda. He's a proud, dedicated father of 3 daughters, Yasmin, Haifa, and Shaden. He was also a guiding brother to Selma, Freddie, Yahya, Zaydeen, Adam, El-Qadri, Raymond. So to all, we bless those 4. And also he has 4 grandchildren, Zina, Rami, Medina, and Zain. Mo attended Salina High School for elementary and junior high and graduated Fortson High School in 1969. Later, inspired by his 4th grade teacher, Iris Becker, might know the name, there was a school named after her. He went to attend Eastern Michigan University, where he studied education. Mo was the first Arabic-speaking teacher in Dearborn Public School System. He taught special education for 9 years and later began teaching different grade levels, at Etzelford, Maples, Woodworth, and Fortson. He retired after 40 years of teaching. Quite an astounding journey and profession in education. Mo continued educating the young minds of Dearborn youth by volunteering at the Dearborn Historical Museum. He was there to greet visitors and to offer knowledge about the early Native American and pioneer life in Dearborn. He also served on the Dearborn Historical Commission, helping with events and programs. His passion for history and education shined throughout everything he did. Mo's kindness, generosity, thoughtfulness, and welcoming nature helped to bridge our community by welcoming everyone into his life with different faith, ethnicities, and cultures. He was loved, respected, and admired by all who surrounded his life. He will always be remembered as a pillar in our community. To all, we offer our most heartfelt sympathy and sincere condolences to the family. I had an opportunity to know Mo myself personally for many, many years, and his family. Tremendous people. I had an opportunity to attend the funeral services that were packed with people to show you what it means to live a good, decent life and raise people of good character that continue to grow. We have a saying in our culture that "Lakhallaf mamat," the person who has a child lives through the good deeds of their child, and that's very evident with Mr. Mosayan, without question to me.
If I may?
Yeah, Mayor, absolutely.
First and foremost, to extend my condolences to the family. I think if I can add to that saying, it's more than just his children, but also his students, as I was one of them. Mr. Sayan was a student to so many of us back at Fortson High School, the greatest high school in all the land. And you have to give credit to our educators, who have one of the most difficult jobs in the entirety of the world. But Mr. Sayan had a way with engaging his students. And you don't remember every teacher's name, I can tell you that. But you remember those who made an impact, and Mr. Sayan was one of them. As somebody you always come across in the community, you always wanted to walk up and have him hopefully remember who you were as a student, because he has thousands of students as well. And so, Chalab Tislamu, Allah Yarhamu, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you patience in the years to come. But he was a phenomenal human being, and I have no doubt he's in the greatest of heavens up there. So thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. I do appreciate it. I know that the family is here as well. Does anyone, I know we also have Mr. Jack Tate, who is our curator. Jack, would you like to say a few words, or are you good? Okay, we're gonna have Jack come up.
Mayor, Council President, members of council. I'm going to say Commissioner Zion. Mo, he came to us about 1915 and started helping with the school program. Became a member of the commission the following year. And he took the program was his. He fixed it for us. And this year especially, he was coming to me, once it started, he was anxious to get going. He wanted to be with those kids. And he just had those kids, I never seen young children that age, second graders, as enhanced with what they were learning as they did from Mo Zion. We're going to miss him, and I wish we had more like him. And I think he got some of that maybe from Iris Becker,
Yes.
who was also one of our commissioners for many, many years. And again, he's got a tremendous family. He was a tremendous man, and be sorely missed by the museum. And I'll catch you later with Spaz.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Director, thank you so much, Jack Tate. We appreciate you shedding the light on it. For the family, this section will be sent to you, as well as the proclamation to Yasmin's home, if that's fine. Does anyone here from the family like to say any words before we close on to our next? Yeah, ma'am, if you'd like to come up, just state your name. Yeah, no, you want to come up to the microphone. Yeah. So yours is the name that I messed up probably.
That's
All right,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Everybody does it, so you're right in good company.
All right.
My name is Shadden Sion. I'm actually his youngest daughter. I just want to thank everybody for remembering my dad. The grieving process has been a little tough for us, but it has also been very peaceful for us because we've had so many wonderful people sharing their stories. Every single person that we've had seen the week before his passing, everybody had something positive and kind to say about him, so we really do appreciate that. On behalf of our family, thank you. Thank you to everybody.
It's our pleasure. I think the mayor summed it up. There is a twofold, not only as a person and human being, but the education. There is teachers that touch the lives of people, and the work that he's done and is tremendous. And I know the family still is working in education, so we thank you for all that you do. And Allah yarhamu. I wish him the best. I wish you guys the best. Thank you so much. And a unanimous roll shall be attached. Okay, at this time, Mr. Clerk, I believe we can now return to our regular meeting.
Okay. The next item is item number 7, public comment, and we'll begin at 7:37.
All right, thank you. So again, for everyone in the audience, the public comment is a 30-minute portion. It is reserved for issues to discuss regarding city business to the public. You do have a 3-minute limitation, and the clerk will let you know when there's 30 seconds remaining. So we have public comment cards. All the cards that were filled out regarding a different issue that is on the agenda, I'm going to call those once the agenda is called, okay? So you're not going to be forgotten. We just have to do those at the point of the time. And Mr. Clerk, I have 7:38. It's good?
Okay.
All right, so at this one we have Teresa Parks. Okay. And just remember, ma'am, again, just state your name and address for the record.
I'm not going to state my address this time.
Okay, state your name.
My name is Teresa Parks. I was one that came on May 7th to conduct some business about the corruption that was going on at Camp Dearborn. My issue is my trailer caught on fire that night. Whether or not what the cause of source is will be determined. But my thing is that I'm being harassed. When I go to the main gate to get back there, whether it be for meeting the fire marshals, the fire detectives, State Farm and detectives, everything, the gate is telling me to go to the office. I don't want to go to the office because Camp Dearborn disrespected me. They never called me and told me my trailer burnt to the ground. Okay? I did not get a phone call until 12 hours after. It got generated through pictures, and the picture got back to me that my trailer was burnt to the ground. So I have an issue with the office. So for me to go to the gate to try to go to get my kayaks, my canoes, and everything that wasn't affected, I'm being harassed, but they're telling me now I can't go there at all. My lease doesn't expire until the 24th.
All right,
But
direct-
I needed him writing, or I need somebody to stop it, because
Okay.
I'm already suffering enough because of the loss that I lost out at Camp Dearborn. And like I said, I had no violations, okay?
Ms. Parks, we understand, and you were here, you know that the council is one of the items tonight. We've talked to the mayor, we're gonna have a meeting, a site session, but we have our director here. So I just wanna, Director, state your name for the file.
Sean Fletcher, Parks and Recreation Director.
All right, so is there any reason why she's not allowed to go in to receive her stuff?
What I've been told is there is an ongoing investigation of the trailer fire.
Right.
And that she is not allowed on that site. That is per Oakland County Sheriff. That is not us.
Okay, hold on.
Oakland County
All right.
Sheriff gave me
Miss-
permission
Miss
to go
Parks,
get
okay.
personal belongings.
Mr. Fletcher, and Mr. Romer, for a legal aspect, I mean, we've been talking about the legal department and what you guys need to do legally, okay? And I'm gonna tell you as a lawyer, that's not your job, nor no one on your staff.
What's
So
not my job? I'm sorry.
It's not your job to enforce the rules of the sheriff department there. So are you saying the sheriff's department has not contacted her? Ms. Parks, have you been?
I've been with them every time they go out there.
Have they,
Yeah,
Ms. Parks,
Thursday.
Ms. Parks, have
Yes.
they told you you're not allowed to enter in there?
No, they told me I can go get my stuff.
Okay. So, Mr. Fletcher, we've had several conversations regarding this and regarding legal aspects. And we're gonna get to it when we have a council meeting. It's tentatively scheduled for June 12th. Now, Mr. Romer, you're our legal counsel. So if you see anything I say that's wrong, I'd like to hear about it. For me, as a lawyer, it's not, no one from the city of Dearborn is to instruct this woman about that aspect. That is the sheriff's department. They need to contact her directly. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Romer, do you disagree with that?
Slightly. So
Okay.
we're the campground owner, and when there's an investigation related to a fire, and we have an order from either Milford, Oakland County, or MSP that nobody is to enter the site, we as the campground owner have to relay that message. And if
Okay.
that's,
Hold up, Ms. Parks.
Okay.
Let me run the meeting.
so I do not blame the director if he's told that through either of those agencies
Okay.
to make sure nobody entered, because Council President, it could compromise the investigation related to the
Mr. Romer,
fire.
I'm fully aware of that, but what my concern is did anybody in your department, did you receive anything in documentation regarding that? And did they provide it to Ms. Parks?
Did we provide her any documentation?
Yeah, were you provided documentation from the agencies
Not
that
that I'm
told?
aware of, but I'll check.
Okay, so for me, Mr. Romer, I can tell you right now, that does not hold water. The agency must tell you and must give you something in writing saying that this is an investigation, tape it off, and say that no one's allowed in here. And then you would tell her that that's what they told. So I know we're the owner of the camp, but we can't say he said, she said. Okay, things have to be documented, and if they're telling her she cannot get the information, she's indicating that they took you in there. Have you entered since?
I've been in there every week, twice a week.
Since the fire.
Twice
You've
a
been-
week.
How are you
Just
getting in?
With Oakland County sheriffs, with investigators. I got all their names and cards right here.
Ma'am, we don't need
They gave
those.
me permission to go get my belongings.
Okay,
That were
so-
not affected by the fire.
All right, so they gave you permission.
Correct,
Okay, so are you allowed to go there when they're not there?
correct.
Well, see,
I went there
that's the concern.
Saturday. I was told I can go there Saturday, and I have to go back Thursday because I was unable to get everything. And the only reason why I'm going back Thursday is because they're coming back Thursday at 1 o'clock,
Who's they?
the investigators.
Okay, so here's the point. You have not been there without the sheriffs, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Oh, no,
so-
no, one time, because they gave me permission to go get my stuff
Who
that
did?
was off the side of my shed.
Who gave you permission?
Oakland County Sheriff did, investigator.
Okay.
And so did State Farm investigators.
Okay, the insurance company.
Correct.
Okay, so at this time, Mr. Romer, I think at this time, we just need to find out what paper trail has been handed to this woman and this lady, I'm sorry, that has a lot there because of the fire. We have to make sure that it's documented. And Mr. Fletcher, we'll get to that on the 12th, but I want to make sure.
You're
if
welcome
someone-
to call these gentlemen and ask them
I
if
know.
I'm allowed to take my belongings off my.
I understand. The question is not whether you can take it out, it's whether can you be there without a person from
Oh,
the.
yeah, they told me I could. Okay, I'm not.
From the
worried.
count,
Yeah.
from the sheriff's department?
Yep.
Okay, so that's what we gotta find out, why there's a miscommunication. There's a break somewhere in here, okay? Because we have to make sure that we uphold the law, but also the law has to provide us with information to send them. We're the third party, right? So her belongings, we only own the land that's on the ground. We don't own the trailer or
But I'm
any of the
still
belongings.
leasing until the 24th.
Yeah, we're aware of that. So there's gonna be a meeting, And that, the council has put a moratorium on that. All the way through Labor Day, it's gonna, looks like June 12th. So what we're gonna do, ma'am, is I'm gonna give, I got your information, I'm gonna give it to our executive assistant. And then, Mr. Fletcher, if you can work with the legal department, do you have their number? The legal department, I'm serious. I wanna make sure that you give them the information and the persons that you talk to at the county so that he can find out and report back to the council. So, Mr. Romer, that's a referral from the council to find out who is in charge of this investigation and who's not speaking to this lady, where the break in communication is and why she can't enter. Can she enter without supervision of the police department? That's what we need to know. Okay, you still have things there?
Yeah, I still have things there. I
Okay.
have
So
things in
we're
my
gonna
shed, my
find out,
shed.
we're gonna find out, and we're gonna have our legal department tell us which way we can do, and we can go from there, okay?
Okay,
We'll
do
have a
you guys
response
need,
tomorrow.
Okay,
do you
excellent.
need numbers to call
No,
the
Ms.
proper
Parks,
authorities?
Ms. Parks, they know how to handle that side. They're gonna find out, and they're gonna have to report back to the council, okay?
Okay, yeah, after that, I don't, once he finds out that I am allowed to go, I don't want no harassment, because this is ridiculous.
I'm sure you won't be harassed, Ms. Parks, okay? And we'll,
All right, well,
we'll
I'm
assure
going
you.
there Thursday with the investigators again,
Okay,
just because I was worried about harassment again.
all right, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. All right, next we have Shannon and Ron Kelser. Sharon, okay, I'm sorry, the signatures are hard to read. Kelser.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, it's.
Just your name again, sir, name and address for the record.
Ronald Kessler and Sharon Kessler. Yeah. well,
Dearborn residents.
Dearborn residents, right. Yeah, we've been noticing this spring that there's been a lot of tree cutting. And I'm not talking about on private property, I'm talking about on the easements. And I think you're aware of the fact that they have been doing a lot of cutting. And we do a lot of walking, walk our dog and so forth, and we've been through the Oak Park area, York Park and Oak Park and so forth. And it seems like it's been excessive. In other words, I don't know what criteria the workers are given to what branches to cut, but we've noticed some trees that were beautifully shaped trees that are no longer beautifully shaped. And we notice it especially when the flowers start coming out on some of these flowering trees. And it just made us wonder, why were so many of these branches cut when they didn't seem to be branches that would have interfered with pedestrian and would have interfered with any electrical or anything like that. And yet they were cut. They must have been told to cut low branches up. And,
Right.
and I don't know, it seems to me it was poorly supervised because there are a lot of branches that were cut that didn't seem to need to be cut. So I don't know if
Okay.
we sort of would like to know why.
Okay, Director
there's no-
Hawkins?
Yeah.
All right, so, sir, I'm going to let our director give you the gist of it, but I can tell you on the council, we were very proud of funding this because the trees haven't been cut in years. So if they miraculously came into a beautiful shape by themselves because they haven't been trimmed in 7 or 8 or 10 years, that's news to me, because what I've seen is them trimming the trees. These are professionals that we hired, but I'm going to let Director Hawkins, the gentleman is saying that he believes the tree cutters are trimming the trees with no guidance and poorly supervised.
May I please give you 7 addresses that we've noticed? Would that help with documentation?
Yeah, well,
purposes?
let's hear from the director, and then we can just give them the streets, and because we have a contract with the people. I mean, we ask them, we're paying them to maintain our trees, and it hasn't been done in years. But let the director, we'll see. Director Hawkins, Steve.
Good evening, Tim Hawkins, DPW Director. The tree trimming contract that was hired has been in long need. The trimming contract was delayed. It's based on a 5-year cycle. There's 5 districts that the city split up into, and we're supposed to go through at least one district and trim an area per season. With COVID and a few things that came along, we got a few years behind, which could actually mean some areas could go 7, 8 years without trimming. If you were on the end of the 5-year cycle, COVID hit, and we didn't trim for 2 or 3 years, they were 8 years without trimming. Those trees are the ones that we saw a lot of wind damage. The large windstorms that came through, they were knocking a lot of limbs down. We were seeing trees hit by Amazon delivery trucks and other utility trucks because the canopy wasn't created correctly, because there's got to be a correct distance from the pavement up to the bottom of the canopy. So we hired the trimming contractor, and I think a lot of this being brought to attention is the fact that we go 8 years without trimming. You have a full canopy that crosses the road, right? Tree from side to side.
So I understand, and these are professionals, and we have
They are.
two arborists or 3 on staff?
We have 2.
2 arborists on our staff?
We do.
All right, do they agree with the trimming, though it's been
Yes, they
happening?
do.
All right, so, folks, what we can do is, we can have Director Hawkins get the address of the concerns that you have, so he can have them go bypass. No one's perfect, maybe they trimmed them a little too short, but honestly, I thought we were very proud of the fact that we found a way to actually maintain things that haven't been maintained over 8 years. So maybe they cut a little too aggressively, we'll find out.
Well, I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for the fact that my calls were not returned. I made 2 calls to the arborist. I called DPW, nothing going on. I called the neighborhood services. They just kept, bumping me to calling somebody else. But 2 calls to the arborist, nobody ever called me back, so.
Yeah, we could have gotten those answers had our calls been returned.
No, I do appreciate it. Well, I can tell you the city, and Mayor, I don't know if you want to speak to this, we're trying to go to a 1-number tracking system. Mayor, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, if you just call, the phone number that can get all your answers is 943-2150.
943.
2150.
And that's a number to who, Mayor?
This is our call center. So we have one central call center. If you speak to a customer service specialist, they'll be able to get your answer within 5 minutes. If not, they'll be sure that you get the follow-up call from whatever appropriate department or individual.
Okay, if you would excuse me, I'm going to give you the addresses.
Ma'am, I know we're going to have you do that off the record with the director, okay?
Oh, I was hoping to go on the record. It's okay.
Yeah, well, he's going to take the information. It's noted that the situation is, and Director Hawkins, I asked you to respond back to the council with the addresses that was provided in the email. So if any member would like to go by and see if they disagree with them as opposed to the arbor.
Just pretty little ornamental trees, and, it's kind of heartbreaking seeing them chopped up.
I'm sure
Well, they were
most of the
trimmed.
credit-
None
I'm sure
of
most
the
of the-
trees you're talking about were removed, right? They were trimmed.
They were chopped. Actually, on the side of the truck, it says chop. And he says, it does, and he says, well, we have to.
We got to
take-
talk about that name, yeah.
He
that's
says
enough.
anything 15 feet up, it has to go. We have to chop it off.
If I can add just one
Yeah, Mayor.
anecdote, prior to the tree cutting and tree trimming contract, what we noticed in a windstorm was we had about 40 to 60 trees that would fall over in one single windstorm. And since we've moved forward with these contracts, in the last about half a dozen windstorms, we've only had 1 tree that's been knocked down. And so that just is a sign of the fact that we have a fairly good operation. Not saying that it's 100% perfect, and we'll examine these houses, but oftentimes what you also find is the very large trees with many branches and leaves, those are the ones that will get picked up by heavy winds and get blown right out the curb. We've seen that happen many a times over the last 2 years at least. And so, but we'll definitely examine these addresses that you provide us and get an answer back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much for coming, and Director Hawkins is going to take that list, and we're going to get a copy as well, okay? All right, thank you. Next, we have Mr. John Benzick.
Good evening. I'll make it very short. I'm
Mr. Benzick, just for the record, your name and address.
Dearborn resident, 2211 Academy Avenue. We had us veterans. We had our meeting last Wednesday. At the end of the meeting, some issues came up. We have a wonderful commander currently related to our parade that's coming up this coming Monday. And there's some issues that came up in terms of security, and it was stone silence afterwards. It was a 10-minute presentation. There was 23 of us present. There's been a couple incidents that have taken place on the news, and also this council here approved the resolution with the Arabic-Jewish war, and we passed it. And I made a comment to the situation, that the situation going on with Gaza and the West Bank and the Israel government, and both in terms of currently being criminal and also in terrorist activity. It's been ongoing since the recognition of Palestine to be an independent state back in 1964. And of course, in 1967, we had the riots. Not only the riot here in Detroit, but we had the Arabic War that went on in the Middle East. Two incidents that bothered me greatly. One, and I can't get into the details of what was presented at our meeting, I didn't particularly care for the first lieutenant in the Detroit Police Department who handled the situation down this weekend in Cobo Hall.
Yeah.
I would request that any aspect of having the Detroit Police Department involved in our Memorial Day Veterans Affairs for those people in his organization, and I admire Commander White of the Detroit Police Department handling the situation very well. There were some incidents that came out and some accusations that came out with the first lieutenant that are unwarranted related to protesters. The second thing was, this morning I got up at our farm and I went over to the diag at 9 o'clock to see them power washing the diag and cleaning it up and all the rest of the stuff. There is a difference between protesting and there's demonstrations. I'm going to be in Washington, D.C.
You have 30 seconds.
Sunday and Monday, and there is no dialogue in terms of peaceful resolution about this whole situation. I'm looking at it and covering it very extensively. The Pope was on television last night, and he says the people in the Middle East, when they come and see him in Ukraine, the youngsters don't smile. Well, I don't smile either. This is a sad situation. And
Sorry, your time has expired.
I just
John.
want to let you know, we veterans are well aware of the situation, extremely very well, and this is a position that we have. And I wanted to say to all of the fellow Arabic and Jewish veterans who received Purple Hearts to come to our Dearborn Memorial Day Parade. My
Thank you, Mr.
best
Benson.
friend was killed in Cambodia in November of 1969, and I'm going to be at the wall. I'm going to be at the national presentation, PBS television at the Capitol Building and at Arlington Cemetery. I'm going to have my hats, going to have Dearborn, Michigan, and my signature, and 1,001 people are going to ask me questions about Dearborn. Why
Yeah.
hasn't the place blown up and this and that? And I'm going to represent the city.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benzik.
Totally positive cycle, and I want to thank our mayor for doing a wonderful job in handling everything.
All right.
I will not disclose the details, other than the fact is, we don't need the Detroit Police Department involved in Dearborn's affairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Mr.
John.
Benzik. Thank you, and have a safe
Thank you
trip.
for your service,
Yeah,
John.
and have a great trip. We have a few more cards here. This one is Todd Shaner. Shear, maybe, yeah. Okay, we'll come back to him. We'll come back to him. It's okay. We also have, I believe this is regarding gym facility windows covered. It says Boyd is the last name. I can't read the first. Boyle. Okay, ma'am, would you like to step forward? I'll get him next. Okay, thank you. Rami, just put him on the list for the, the 12 for the meeting. Ma'am, and just your name and address for the record.
Okay, Gloria Boyle.
Gloria, all right.
I am a Dearborn citizen, and I have been a member of the Civic Center since we put the pool in, day one. And I'm also a 30-year retiree.
Yes.
Well, on Monday, we went to do our water aerobics, and all the windows between the pool area and the workout area have been blocked out. There is no light coming through to the people working on the machines, and we are not getting the sun that comes from the south coming through to the pool. Now, I'm not the only one that has a problem with the windows being covered. We have known these people that are doing the work out on the machines, and they know us, and we've been same people, it seems like every week. And we have a good rapport. There is no problem between us and them, okay? Well, we got together, and they are doing, they are in an uproar. Today was unbelievable. One lady says she has claustrophobia, and if you were standing in the area where the machines are, it's dark. I mean, there's just no, and they like to be able to see the outside. And we don't have any problem. And, you know, we have to walk in front of them with our bathing suits on, but we're, you know, respectful in how we dress, you know. I mean, we're a bunch of 70, 80, 90-year-olds going swimming. So I sent an email to the head of the department there, Mr. Fletcher.
Yes.
Okay, and I got a response to his emails saying that that there were people that the windows were covered due to some members not feeling comfortable with people in the fitness area staring into the pool area. And he's spoken to a couple individuals who said they would not use the pool due to people on the fitness equipment looking at them.
You have 30 seconds.
Oh gee. We did not want to turn the fitness equipment around to face the windows, not face away from the windows. Well, why do we have to deal with this after we've been members all these years and no one else has a problem with this, but a couple individuals who don't even belong to the pool area or the center? And I just don't understand it.
Okay,
I
Ms.
don't
Boyd.
feel that's a legitimate.
Okay, so our director is out handling another complaint. The mayor is well aware of this because he did brief the council regarding this, but we were understanding there's a transparency aspect to it. So, Mayor, would you like to give us shed some light on this for?
Yeah, thank you
Ms.
so much
Boyd?
for coming. So as it pertains to some of the decal you're seeing on the windows, what we actually found was, unfortunately, there were some individuals in the fitness area that were working out with the hopes of seeing young children in the pool area. And from my perspective, I'm all about protecting our children. And so for me, I don't want to give anybody the opportunity to come work out in a fitness center so you can look directly into an aquatics area in front of a splash pad and a slide. And so for me, the window decal is not impacting those who are doing the aerobics classes or enjoying the pool, and it's not impacting those who are working out. And if anything, it's providing a level of privacy so people can have comfort and not having to wonder or guess who's running on that treadmill, piercing their eyes through the window and potentially looking at your young children. We've already had, since we put up the decals, people who have made comments to the staff that they now will no longer come back because they can no longer look at the people who are at the pools, which just verifies the whole reason that we made this investment to begin with and why we think it's appropriate. It's after all these years, absolutely. I mean, for me, if it's an opportunity to protect a single child, it's an opportunity I'm going to take, and we have to prioritize the protection of our children.
Why can't they just do that half of the windows?
I think right now that there's a portion where the top of the window is open, the top row is open.
The top, way up at the very top?
Correct.
I mean, you're talking way up there.
Yeah, we can examine to maybe open up another row or so. And obviously for us, the protection level is, we're largely aimed at the bottom. We can rearrange it to open up another row at the top to allow more sunlight. We do have LED lights coming in across the workout facility, so that will also improve the lighting across the workout area. But ultimately, we made the decision to protect anybody who's swimming in the swim area from any individual in the fitness area.
What about the fact that people walking the track, they can see into the pool area?
No, I understand that. If you'd like me to put decals there as well, I'm happy to do it.
I mean, this has been going on for years, and now we have a problem. We had a lady come in ladies' room last week. 2 boys, 7 and 8 years old, in the ladies' room. She would not go to the family room. She refused. She ended up calling the police because the person who was upset about it took a picture of the boys to show that there were 7 and 8-year-olds in the woman's dressing room.
No, thank you for calling the authorities on that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Is that it?
Just
Okay.
to let you know, there's going to be more people.
Yeah, we have some here, so we got to get to them because we have to get through the rest of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you though so much for that. We also have, on the window cleans is Pete. Okay. Yeah, either one, sir. Just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Pete Girardi. I'm a Dearborn resident for 64 years. I use the pool on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to know why they close up like that.
Okay, so
And
the mayor.
how many people complained before? I'd like to know.
I'm sorry, sir. For us, as the council, we don't have that complaint data, but the mayor had indicated why his rationale was for to do
Well,
that.
because I see
He did
now
inform the
everybody
court.
complain, everybody on the gym site, everybody complain. As a matter of fact, we start collecting signature. I'm gonna present to you guys or the recreation department, because it took all the beauty away from the gym and from the pool anyhow.
Okay.
It was
Mayor,
a
isn't there a
beautiful.
transparency aspect to it?
It's not 100%. I mean, for me, I meant like it's the opening
Oh,
up
yeah.
top on one window, and the other window you have opening on the bottom and opening on the top.
I'd like to know how much they pay for that. How much it
That's-
costs
that's in the
to cover it
recreation.
up?
I don't have the cost in front of me,
Huh?
but it's very cheap. I don't have the cost in front of me.
You know?
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, it's part of
Oh,
the,
come
it's
on.
part of the, it's part of the budget, sir. It's part of the budget. But the point is, it's noted, and our director's here regarding that. So I'm sure, as the mayor had specifically indicated why he felt that was necessary to do. So,
Okay, so, well, we'll see then what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Next, we have Betsy Andre. Andre, okay.
Andreu.
Andreu, okay, apologize.
Okay, so on behalf of my father-in-law, it's the gym thing. All these years, there's never been a problem, and all of a sudden, 2 women complain, and they have to make it so that the sunlight isn't getting in, and people can't see out, blah, blah, blah. So that was one thing. The other thing is, on Michigan Avenue alone, between Military and Oakwood, there are stickers on lampposts, and they shouldn't be there. And when I called the mayor's office, they said it's DTE. When I called DTE, they said, no, it's not us. And so I want to know how come they aren't being taken down when it's violating ordinance section 5-1335.
Okay, thanks, Betsy. Do we have, Mayor,
I
that
can
would be
speak to it.
economic development? Oh, you do speak to it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
go ahead,
that's
Mayor,
fine.
if you have some
Yeah,
knowledge
we're aware
regarding
that
these
there are
stickers.
some stickers on light poles for us, limited staff and trying to, for me, it's if I have neighborhood enforcement going out, citing across neighborhoods for tall grass, for garbage issues, going through business districts and such. For me, it's just a matter of priorities. It is on their to-do list, and we'll hopefully that they'll get to it. But it's just a matter of priorities. There's so much on the to-do list that they're gonna get around to it.
There is, but if there were a different political message, I'm sure they would have been off right away. And it's not right to have any stickers on any of that. It violates the ordinance, and they should be taken down because it's offensive to the thousands of people that do work in the city of Dearborn from every ethnicity, race, you name it.
Yeah,
It's
like I
just-
said, we
it's
know
offensive.
it's against the ordinance, and it's on a to-do list to get to. There are many things that are obviously against the ordinances. and that I
So
need to
when
get
is it
to.
gonna be taken down?
Well,
I don't have a timeline
ma'am,
for
if
you.
there's, Miss Andrea, who is, Director Hawkins still here?
He was out talking to a resident.
All right, so, I was unaware of what stickers you're talking about. I guess Councilwoman Herrick informed me, and I know the mayor said it's on the list, but for me, any message that's pertained on these should be immediately removed. So the council supported me, unanimously, my council supported me last year to create a clean streets crew, which we called it the cleanup crew, and to make sure that things are blight and so on and so forth. So, and I know the mayor has taken that, and we've been going around doing these types of things. So I assure you that between Michigan Avenue and Military through Oakwood, I will go ahead and make sure that they are removed forthwith, because any message that's sent portrays on the city as if the city has an opinion, which we're not in the business of opinions.
And just to
We're-
clarify, we have taken them down before, and obviously they pop back up.
Okay, well, that's good to know, so that they have been taken down before. Director Hawkins, you could. So we'll make sure we get them there. So if you don't mind, Director Hawkins, just for the record. So what we have, Ms. Andreas, and I believe Councilwoman Herrick has indicated, she had reported this as well, there's some stickers that have some content that's not content neutral that are being stuck on light bulbs on Michigan Avenue in the West DDA, I believe, on Military. No, the DDA ends at Military, right? So it's outside the scope. That's probably another reason it's outside of our DDA that has a little bit more enforcement power. So between Michigan Avenue, between Military to Oakwood, there is signs that have a content message pasted to light bulbs. So we need those. Can you have the Clean Streets remove those immediately, forthwith tomorrow?
Absolutely, and we have been having the tree trucks sent out with our trimmers in them, up in the bucket trucks to get some that are elevated. So they have put ladders up on the poles and put them above where we
So
can
you
take
have
them
been
down.
removing them?
So we have been removing them continually throughout the city.
All right, and they've been coming back, so. Ms.
Yes,
Andreas-
they are.
Andrea, you? So as you're indicating that they're doing that, but we did ask this to be done forthwith, and as he's indicating, they're well aware of it, they've been doing it, it's been continued, so it's continuing to happen. Councilman Paris.
Thank you, Council President. I will address this issue too, that Ms. Andrew was bringing up, because last week, as a follow-up to the parking structures, and we have talked recently too, that the east and west and the other parking structure have had some difficulties too, with both graffiti and with stickers that are placed around that property and on some of the concrete poles, within the parking structure. En route to doing that, taking a look at the parking structures recently, I did call, or did see myself, from Outer Drive all the way through Brady, at least 75 stickers.
Yeah.
But I will say, just a couple days ago, going back through again, and I'm talking about 2 days ago now, may have even been yesterday, going through the parking structure again, virtually everything's been removed except for just 2 pieces of graffiti. But most of the graffiti, especially the obscene, has been removed. And I noticed that most of the stickers on the telephone poles and utility poles are removed. They've been ripped off, they're no longer there. However, within just a few short days, they reappear again in different areas, and I noticed them again yesterday.
Okay.
So I do know that the city has been out, to try to address the issue.
It's on the list
and
for
it has
all
been
enforcement.
reported.
It's on the list for all enforcement division for the Clean Streets crew. So as they come across them, they are taking them down. But like I said earlier, it's just.
And the
No,
tree
we
trucks
understand,
now.
but it is the Memorial Weekend, there's gonna be a lot of people in town, so we need it to be a priority tomorrow morning.
You got it.
All right.
For sure.
And
Thank
just
you.
one other question. I received, so when I had called, so thank you to the council members who did respond to me. I did receive something, an email from the city, but I don't know who it's from. Is there a general box that if you, saying that there's a resolution, blah, 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 but I don't know
Yeah,
where it
I
came
didn't
from,
receive
who
any
it came
email.
from, but it's this new Monday thing or me
She's
thing?
referring to the Monday.com.
What's that?
So Monday.com is just a project management software we use internally, and that way we can actually track and assign everything that comes
But how
through.
do I know who's responding to me? It's just a general,
It's traditionally, it depends on who you email. So if you show me the email, I can tell you who responded.
Yeah, we did.
So
Did we receive in the council? 'Cause I did not
so then it
receive
must have been Mr. Abraham, because I only emailed him. So, okay, but for the future, how will I know So, okay, so
If you
this is
use a
just.
general, if you use a general email,
Uh-huh.
then you're gonna get a general response. If you want to target a specific member of the council, then I would send it.
And I hope that they would sign the emails.
No, it's not, it just.
No, I'm
came-
talking about if you're specific, if it's a specific email.
Here's
to
what, she sent me
Councilman
an
Abraham?
email. I asked the office executive
Yes.
to submit it through the Monday.com. She got the automated response that
Right.
the ticket was created.
Got it.
So she's asking, I guess, how does she know who got it? The answer is you don't, because the ticket was created and it hadn't been distributed yet.
Okay.
It's an automated system.
Yeah. The
So
system.
it's not a person sending an email, it's an automated response that we logged your complaint.
Okay.
And you didn't respond to her, that you received it.
I responded to her.
Personally.
But Jackie submitted,
All right,
The
but she did get a
Monday.com
response
thing.
from you that it was received, and then I understand.
yeah, and she responded again to me
Okay,
saying.
This is like when you submit a survey and it just sends you an email saying, thank you for submitting the
Yeah.
survey. We have that feature so you know that you actually submitted the request.
Okay, and then just regarding the gym, it's a done deal, those opaque walls aren't coming down?
No, we
For
can
the-
modify the decal to allow more sunlight from the top.
And is this because of?
It's not about two
pedophilia?
complaints. I've had dozens of conversations actually on this issue, and I can tell you there's been, and I hate to say this publicly, there's been about half a dozen members who walked up to staff today saying they'll no longer work out here because they can no longer look at the goodies. And so for me, again, it emphasizes the
Wait,
point.
did you say goodies or kitties?
Goodies. And so for me, it emphasizes the point for why this was done, and the protection of young children or anybody using the pool is important priority. It's an unfortunate reality, and so, we'll modify it to allow more sunlight as much as we can in, with still allowing that semi-privacy. And again, I don't think swimming in the aerobics area, if you can't look at those working out, it takes away from enjoying a pool, and vice versa. If you're running on a treadmill and can't necessarily look at the people in the pool, I'm not sure what it's taking away from your workout. We can try to allow more sunlight and allow more LED lights, which we're making the improvements on, and work
Yeah,
from
I
there.
don't work out there. I was asking for my father-in-law because he said it's very dark and it's just, you could see outside, it was enjoyable. I didn't know it's because we have perverts working out. So,
All
okay,
right,
thank
thank
you
you.
for your.
Councilwoman Herrick?
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Andreo, for coming in. And regarding the Monday system that we're implementing to track resident issues or council member issues, that we're asking the administration to take a look at things. I'm glad that we have a system going into place so that we can track when we have correspondence to see where the issue is in the system and who's addressing it. But I'm hoping that perhaps we can tweak that automated response, because I did see what it said, and it gave a number, but it didn't tell the resident what to do with that information. It didn't say what that number was or how they can use it to follow up further to find out where their complaint is in being addressed. So if we're able to customize that a bit, I think that will alleviate some of the confusion that's generated when somebody gets that automated response.
Yeah, I'm happy to take a look at it.
All right, thank you.
Or us, yes, thank you.
All right, we have a couple more cards left at Sam Yafai.
Council President, do you want to add time, because you're over the 30 minutes?
Mr. Romer, the rules doesn't give me the flexibility that, do we need to suspend them?
Yeah, you need to
Okay,
suspend.
does anybody object?
I move we suspend the rules to extend our
Okay,
public
so
comment.
offer has been made by Councilman Herrick, supported by Councilman El Swafi. Any objections, unanimous roll? Okay, unanimous roll has been made, has been attached to extend the time limit. Mr. Yafai, if you just state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Sabri Yafi. I also go by the name of Sam Yafi. I'm the owner of Yafa Construction, located at 5740 Chase Road. And today I want to address an issue affecting every resident of our great city of Dearborn. Our city's mission statement pledges to provide high-quality public service in a cost-effective, efficient, and courteous manner, promoting safety, healthy and vibrant community for all. This mission should be more than a formality. It should be a promise to us, the residents. Unfortunately, many of us have experienced poor customer service, delays, and unresponsiveness, which contradicts this mission statement. To address this, I propose a comprehensive plan here
So number one, enhanced training program. I think the city should implement a thorough customer service training for all city employees, especially those that are interacting with the public, focusing on responsiveness, empathy, and professionalism. For example, when a contractor comes down to City Hall to address an issue, the ordinance officer should be compassionate and understanding, not arrogant and dismissive. This skill comes with proper training and how to handle certain situations. Number two, accountability and performance metrics. The city should introduce a clear performance metrics and accountability measures with regular evaluations and feedback. So, for example, if an employee shows constant performance and temperament issues, they should be moved to another role or that has less interaction with the public, since they cannot handle that type of assignment. Number three, residential feedback system or resident feedback system. And I've heard there's a tool being introduced here, but this tool needs to establish robust channels for residents' feedback to identify areas of improvement to ensure the residents' voices are heard. So when a resident goes into City Hall, there's a tablet for them to sign in. So on their way out, there should be a tablet for them to leave comments or rate their interaction with the person they spoke with. And number four, and I hear the mayor talks about this a lot, transparency and reporting. So we need more commitment on regular public reporting.
You have 30 seconds.
On customer service to maintain transparency. So in conclusion, our leaders must recommit to the mission statement and good in deeds and actions, not just words, by prioritizing high quality service, efficiency, and customer service. We can restore faith in our administration, also build a stronger Dearborn. So
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Fine.
it.
Thank you. Councilman Al-Swafi, you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Council President. So I did receive a video from Mr. Sam. Thank you for sending that. And in the video, it does show what appears to be an employee of the city acting in a way that I don't believe represents the city of Dearborn. So Mayor, I did forward it to you. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, but I ask that you take a look at that, and whatever training or disciplinary action needs to be taking place against that employee. I appreciate some feedback. Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
All right, thank you. All right, lastly, we have Miriam Talib. You want to see if she's in the hall? Miriam or Rita Talib. All right. Just give it a minute, shoulder.
Council President, if I could, if she speaks to the pending litigation, I would just advise the council not to address it, if that's the
But
individual.
she's allowed to speak though, right?
She's
We went
allowed to
through that
speak, but I would
before.
ask that you not engage. There's a pending criminal CFO ticket related to this car wash, if I believe it's, and there's a pending civil lawsuit for a public nuisance related to law. So if she's going to come in and discuss those lawsuits, I'd ask that you not comment.
Okay. All right, since they went out in the hall there, she's not present, we are going to now close the public comment portion at 8:22. Before we move into the consent agenda, are there any items that any member wish to remove from the consent agenda and discuss individually? Okay, hearing and seeing none, Mr. Clerk, can you proceed?
Councilmember Enos?
Yes.
I'm sorry, did we get an offer and support?
No, yeah, we need that, I thought you were going to read that you need that.
Oh,
I
I'm
thought-
sorry. Resolution in need of offer and support, approving all the items of the consent agenda.
All right, we had an offer by Councilman Al-Sawafi and supported by Councilman Gary Enos. All right, any questions or comments? Mr. Clerk, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Enos?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamud? Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Paris?
Yes.
Councilmember El-Sawafi?
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick?
Yes.
Council President Sereni?
Yes.
6 yeas, the resolution passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item, please.
Council President?
Oh, I apologize, Councilman Abraham.
I just have just a question for legal counsel on point of order. Since Council Member Hamud is not here, how does the consent agenda handle his offers and supports? Is it not relevant?
No. So the offer and support that's listed for the item for him moves it to the consent agenda. It would stick as long as there's offer and support for approval of the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Abraham. Mr. Clerk, can we have the next item of business?
Item number 29, resolution by Councilmember Al Sawafi and Enos approving the minutes of the previous regular meeting of May 7th, 2024.
Okay, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the minutes? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 30, ordinance on the table, ordinance number 24-1817, an ordinance to amend the offenses chapter, chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 5, Section 14-131, entitled Breach of Peace. Resolution by council members Abraham and Hamud to take from the table for its final reading.
All right, so, and point, Councilman Hamud is not in the building, so we have currently, for the point of order, Mr. Romer, in this case, this individual item, we need, Councilman Abraham has offered it, we need a support for this item. Supported by Councilman El Swafi. Is that what you want about? Okay, so the support is by Councilman El Swafi.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, unanimous roll shall be taken from the table for this final reading. This is a request from our legal department requesting the amendment of an existing breach of peace ordinance to clarify penalty for violation of the ordinance. Section 14-131 does not currently specify a penalty for a violation. In absence of some express language under the Code of Ordinance Section 1-9, a violation of code misdemeanor is punishable as 93 days in jail. 93 days is a misdemeanor and up to a $500 fine. The proposed amendment seeks to reduce the penalty from 93 days to 90 days to align with the general low-level nature of this offense and the conditions that come with this conviction under the offense, which includes booking, photographing, and fingerprinting. In addition, under state law, any individual that is convicted of a misdemeanor with a penalty of over 92 days must have their fingerprints forwarded to the Michigan State Police to enter into the lien system. Given the nature of this offense and reduction of the offense to 90-day, the misdemeanor is in line with national trend of mitigating the impact of low-level offenses. This is the second and final reading of this ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? Okay. Mr. Clerk, can we have the final reading?
This is the final reading of ordinance number 24-1817, an ordinance to amend the offenses chapter, chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 5, Section 14-131, entitled Breach of Peace.
All right, Mr. Clerk, can we have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Enos?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamud? Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Paris?
Yes.
Councilmember El Sawafi?
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick?
Yes.
Council President Sereni?
Yes.
6 yeas, the ordinance passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item.
Item 31, ordinance on the table, ordinance number 24-1818, an ordinance to amend the traffic and motor vehicle chapter, chapter 18 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 2, Division 6, Section 18-271, entitled Operating Motor Vehicle while under the influence of intoxicating liquor or controlled substance, operating motor vehicle when visibly impaired, operation of motor vehicle by person less than 21 years of age, sanctions, cost, enhanced sentence, guilty plea, or nulla contende, establishment of prior conviction, special verdict, public record, burden of proving religious service or ceremony, resolution by council members Herrick and Enos to take from the table for its final reading.
All right, an unanimous roll shall be attached, taken from the table for its final reading. This is another request from our legal department for an amendment of the city's existing operating while intoxicated, which is OWI ordinance, to remove a sunset clause regarding a blood alcohol content, or BAC, to the OWI offenses to align with recent changes in state law. The state of Michigan receives annual funding, federal funding, federal highway construction funding, conditioned on compliance with the blood alcohol content of 0.08 grams per 100 milliliters of blood. Our ordinance section 18-271 adopts the state statute blood alcohol limit, but also includes a sunset provision, which is based on previous versions of state law. The amendment of this ordinance ensures that it mirrors state law and would require the state treasurer to certify within 30 days of the state, 30 days, and the state is no longer receiving, to make sure that the funds are receiving from the federal government. Adoption of the proposed ordinance amendment is recommended to ensure the city's ordinance mirrors state law. This is the second and final reading of this ordinance. Any questions or comments on it? All right, hearing and seeing none, Mr. Clerk, can we have the final reading?
This is the final reading of ordinance number 24-1818, an ordinance to amend the Traffic and Motor Vehicle Chapter 18 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 2, Division 6, Section 18-271, entitled Operating Motor Vehicle while under the influence of intoxicating liquor or controlled substance, operating motor vehicle when visibly impaired, operating a motor vehicle by person less than 21 years of age, sanctions, costs, enhanced sentence, guilty plea of nolo contendere, establishment of prior conviction, a special verdict, public record, burden of proving religious service or ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Can we have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Enos?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamud? Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Paris?
Yes.
Councilmember El Sawafi?
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick?
Yes.
Council President Sereni?
Yes.
6 yeas, the ordinance passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item.
Item 32, ordinance number 24-1819, introduced by Councilmember Abraham. Synopsis, an ordinance to amend section 9.02 of ordinance number 06-1111 of the City of Dearborn by rezoning the property located at 18000 Oakwood Boulevard from an RA, which is a one-family residential district, to a BB, which is a community business district, and RE, a multifamily residential, and a VP, vehicular parking district zoning classification. Resolution by Council Members Al Sawafi in need of support to take from the table.
All right, and for a point of order, Mr. Romer, we do need a support in order to debate.
That's correct.
All right, do we have a support? We have an offer in need of support. Do we have a support? Okay, I will support, supported by myself, Mr. Clerk.
Okay?
All right. So to continue on, this is a request to rezone 18,000 Oakwood Boulevard from the former Howell Elementary School from a RA, one-family residential district, to a BB, community business district, and an RE, multifamily residential, and VP, vehicular parking zoning class. We had, Ms. Kaylee, would you like to come forward? We had extensive talks regarding this at our committee of the whole meeting. This proposed rezoning, RE rezoning, would be appropriate and soften the transition from BC zoning properties located in the northwest of the site. The multifamily zoning districts are often used to buffer more intensive commercial development from single-family neighborhoods. The Planning Commission has recommended approval of this request on their January 9th, 2023 meeting, and the Planning and Zoning Division is also recommending approval at the Planning Commission as well. This is the first of 2 readings. So could you just state your name, and we want to just get a brief synopsis as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Council President. Kaylee Bianchini, Planning and Zoning Manager. So just a kind of some high-level bullet points as we discussed at the last Committee of the Whole.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the proposed rezoning is essentially to split zone this property. The majority of the property requested to be rezoned would be for RE, which is the high-density residential. And then the front portion of it along Oakwood is BB, which is essentially our community business district. The proposed rezoning is considered to be in alignment with the Dearborn Master Plan. Per the current future master plan, it discusses that even essentially BB and BC would be appropriate for the entirety of that parcel. So in looking at what the proposed rezoning is, looking at the RE zoning, that is in alignment with some goals in objectives in the master plan, specifically to diversify the housing typologies in the city. So increasing the stock of additional housing options is necessary to support younger demographics as well as our aging population. The RE multiple family allows different housing typologies, and that's an incredibly important point, especially along Oakwood Boulevard, where we have 2 major employers, such as almost made that mistake again, not Beaumont, Corewell Health,
yes.
as well as our essentially the Ford Motor Company's hub that they are doing. So being able to increase the housing typologies is definitely a goal in the master plan and would be supported by this request. And in addition, as you noted, Council President, the multiple family zoning designations is often used to help buffer more intensive commercial development, which is essentially adjacent to this area, not being proposed by the applicant, and using it to soften essentially offer it as a transitional zoning district, which is we think is being supported by this request.
Excellent, thank you very much. So there are several people here from the residents that would like to speak. Before we get to them, I'd like to see if there's any questions from the council to our the Planning Division What's the title now?
Planning and zoning manager.
Planning and zoning manager. I apologize. Planning and zoning manager.
Is it possible to make 2 comments?
Mayor, absolutely, yeah.
Thanks so much, Council President. Thank you, Kaylee, and I want you to keep me honest, so I have one thing that I think I'll have you describe as it pertains to process, and one other. I know one of the big concerns was traffic, so something we did early on, we approached and reached out to Corwell. We sat down with the new president, actually brought her over to the office, and they granted permission to the developer to also use Beaumont Private Drive. That is a private road that is owned by Corwell, and so they're actually granting permission to this developer to have entry and exit points off of Beaumont Drive. This also should be made aware to the general public that Wayne County submitted their funding, the city and the state have submitted their funding as well, and Oakwood Boulevard is going to transform it's actually going to become an actual boulevard as a part of the Ford Hub development, and that work will commence later this year. But the other thing I wanted to speak to is just, what's before you is zoning, and what's left for the petitioners obviously to still go through site plan approval and still have to go back before the planning commission. And at that point in time, there can be a more in-depth conversation about any proposed development and anything alongside that development. So I just wanted, if Kaylee, you can speak to what that process is like, and what can happen later in that process. As what's before us right now is simply just the zoning and not any, quote-unquote proposed development. When it goes before site planning, before planning commission, that's where you have the serious conversation about the type of development that we would permit or approve as a planning commission and as an administration recommend or not recommend.
Absolutely, Mayor. And then, Ms. Bianchini, just for the public, we had you give us the high-level aspect of what the current zoning is right now, which was
RA, yep, one family residential.
one family residential.
Yep, and so essentially with the current zoning classification, it pretty much only permits single-family detached homes. There are some special land uses, such as religious institutions that would be permitted. Primarily our RA zoning classification is just used for single family.
So right now, a religious institution is permitted to be built
As a
there?
special land use.
Okay, but it's still permitted?
Correct.
Okay, and then that was also the school site, so was that rezoned after the school, or is that still the zoning from the school?
Still the zoning from the school.
Okay,
That's
just wanted to make sure. Okay.
And just to kind of go into some more details from what the mayor outlined. So in one of the benefits of the RE zoning classification is that everything that occurs within the RE zoning district requires site plan review and approval by the planning commission. What that means is that before they can construct anything, before they're approved for anything, they have to go in front of the planning commission for a public meeting. As a part of that process, all neighbors, including property owners and tenants within 300 feet, are notified of this request and would be invited to come to the meeting. That's where we would have a more detailed kind of inventory and review of exactly what they're looking to do, how the site is designed, how much housing is being proposed, what the layout is, what do the buffers look like, how is even the parking oriented. We can have more specific conversations at that time.
Right.
That's also a great opportunity for the members of the public to come out to not only see exactly what's being proposed, but offer their feedback as well. And so that is the RE, even though it allows additional density. Once again, the layout and especially all the density requirements would be reviewed at that time at a later point.
And just because you support the zoning change does not mean that the planning commission will automatically approve a site plan that's permitted. So I think that's also important that, they're bifurcated in that way.
Right. Yeah, we had those discussions on the committee of the whole too, and our Brad Mendelson from the legal department was also indicating what is legal to discuss and what isn't, because we had things that were going out of the scope. Our job is strictly on the zoning aspect. So I do appreciate the maps and everything was very detailed in the work you've done, so I do appreciate it. So we're going to open it up some questions from the council, and then we have the cards here from some residents. Anyone from the council would like to address this issue first? Remember, it is a first reading. Councilman
Just one
Enos.
quick question. What kind of sewage study would be done on this site?
Yeah, so as a part of the site plan review process, we look at stormwater requirements. In this particular case, anything related to stormwater specifically, right, or even sewer, it has to comply with what Wayne County standards are, which is now MS4. So it's pretty stringent requirements. That is reviewed by our team. We adopted essentially those MS4 requirements back in 2020, I think. And so that's reviewed as a part of the site plan process.
And just to
before it can even
clarify,
go before the planning.
yeah, as a part of MS4, 100% of the stormwater on that parcel has to be retained and captured on that parcel. It cannot escape that parcel.
100% is the standard?
The MS4 is 100% for anything larger than
Okay,
1
that's
acre.
good to know. Yeah, that's
100%,
excellent.
correct.
Good, Councilman? Councilman Al-Sawafi?
Thank you, Council President. The proposal that we have in front of us suggests that BE zoning is more appropriate than the originally proposed BC zoning due to the adjacent land use, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, has there been any assessment of the specific types of businesses anticipated to be in the BB zone and their potential impact to the surrounding area? I know we touched on it a little bit, but if you haven't done that assessment, what is the process for that type of assessment later?
Yeah, that's a great question. So essentially, as part of the site plan
That's the
review
use, I'm
process-
sorry, is that, you're asking what uses are gonna be?
No, potential uses which are written right here. These
So
are-
you're asking her.
The permitted
written
use.
in.
The process related.
Mr. Romer?
Yeah, he can ask what permitted uses would be under that zoning designation. I don't think he's asking what actual use is going in. He's just talking about from a code standpoint with that zoning designation.
Right, no, I just wanted to
what's
make sure,
permitted.
because that's what you have,
permissible.
that's what we have in front of us.
Yep.
That we went over, so I just wanna make sure we don't touch on use.
Yep,
Okay,
and so
fine.
that's, and included in the exhibit is essentially the list of uses. So the major distinction in this case, it's things that are special land uses, right, have a much different process. So when we talk about things being a special land use, that's what requires planning commission review and approval, similar to the RE zoning classification. What I can say is that in general, and once again, why the recommendation before with the BC zoning was not recommended, because it's too intense, it allows additional lot coverage as well as additional uses. But the biggest thing with the BB is really what I would say you typically see is like restaurants and retail, offices.
We
Those
talk-
are the top typical uses.
I know we talked about this also during the cow, but for the comfort of the residents at home, what is the process for an assessment such as traffic and noise? That's done at a later point, I believe you touched on it this time, or that's what I
Yes.
would like you to speak to if you can.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, yep, as we discussed, essentially it could be as part of a site plan review and approval, such as the planning commission. So when we talk about anything that happens in the RE zoning district, that's required to go to the planning commission. Traffic is definitely discussed as a part of it, and actually the planning commission, if they are, when they're looking at the design, they have concerns about the layout, they can actually request a traffic study as a requirement, right, before essentially they can issue approval. If we're talking about uses that are permitted by right, it still goes through a very comprehensive process internally by staff. So once again, in this particular case, because it's Oakwood, it's not even just our standards, it's actually the county as well. So they have to sign off on any curb cuts, right, the locations of them has to meet their standards as well.
Okay. That's certainly not done tonight, because we don't have any specific businesses that were
Correct,
approved
but
on
would
a
be a part
specific
of the
site plan.
process.
Okay, got it. And that's when it would be voted up or down during that process that you mentioned, correct?
With the planning commission, correct.
Okay, thank you. Council President.
Yep, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Paris.
Thank you, Council President. I only wanted to bring it up just for clarification. Mayor, you brought up about the engineering complex further on down Oakwood, closer to Michigan Avenue. My question is then, making this a boulevard, I have not personally heard, and I just wanted clarification, how far down is the boulevard going to extend? Is it only by the engineering complex to a short distance, or is it going to be all the way down through Rotunda?
I'll speak with engineering, and it's
An email.
get back an answer to you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions from council? No one else? Okay, so now we have some questions from the residents pertaining to this. We have James Schmidt. Sir.
James Schmidt, I reside at 1266 Linden, and I also own the property at 1118 Linden. You know what, I've talked about it, and a lot of people also have been about the issue with just, you know, the traffic and the sewage and the, you know, the rainwater and all that. But I have something else I'd like to talk about, considering it then, because I'm sure other people are gonna talk about that. I drove through, there's the commercial complex on Greenfield Rotunda, and there's also the one that's off of Oakwood, between Oakwood and Rotunda there, the commercial buildings. I drove through there the other day, and there's a number of buildings there that are empty and up for lease. Now, if we're gonna, you know, they're already in the area, so they're already in the area, there are commercial buildings that aren't being filled. So I mean, does it make sense to build more and just have them empty? Same thing retail. We have retail along Michigan, along Monroe, along Chase, along Warren. And also, heard a radio, I don't know if you guys have heard that on the radio today. They were talking about, I listen to a lot of news when I drive, because I drive a lot. Fairlane Town Center sounds like it's in a lot of trouble right now. They said that they're $2 million behind in their county property taxes. And it also said that DTE is considering cutting off power and gas to the complex if they don't pay their bills by June 3rd. So, I mean, that is an ideal place for development. It's already developed. And same thing too, there's the old Higher Regency there. You wanna talk about housing, they've got floors and floors and floors. That would be, and then for transportation to like the hospital or the engineering or anything like that, I think like a shuttle bus service could be provided for that. So it would cut down on the traffic, less pedestrians, less personal cars, and it would get people where they need to go. I just think that I'd like to still see it as a neighborhood. I've lived there my whole life since 1968. We moved there from the family, and I have 2 homes in the area, and I just love the area. I've been to, all the way from kindergarten up through Henry Ford Community College, and I just don't want to see a change.
You have 30 seconds.
Thank you for all your attention. I appreciate you.
And thank you for coming. Appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. Next, we have Dan Harvey. Next.
Dan Harvey, 1201 Linden. Approving the major rezoning change request for the Oakwood property developer without a vetted, detailed development plan would be very bad judgment by the city council. The city council should remember, all the problems with the development by the Fakuri team. It turned out to be an eyesore and a disaster for the city. The city actually needs to have an independent contractor conduct a thorough and comprehensive traffic study on Oakwood Boulevard before anything's approved. The city also needs to have an independent contractor conduct a thorough and comprehensive sewer and flooding study so neighborhood basements don't flood during heavy rains, which is a current problem. Large above groundwater retention ponds should be mandatory on the Oakwood property, just as they are on the Rotunda property that Ford Motor Company has. The developer zoning request will also lower homeowner property values. The developer bought the Oakwood property as a single-family residential zoning. If the developer's not happy with the single-family zoning, he could always sell the property. As Mr. Schmidt pointed out, there's all kinds of other property in the city of Dearborn that would meet the different zonings that he could have all these big developments. The city council and planning commission need to vet all issues before any rezoning approval. The city should be diligent and fix all the issues now, not after they approve the zoning. After the fact, it's the old getting the cart in front of the horse. It doesn't make any sense. The mayor always talks about green space, how important it is. Everybody agrees with him on that. And then here you got a beautiful green space, and you want to put concrete up. It's just a disaster. So, yeah, obviously, I don't want to see another Fakuri problem with the city. It was an embarrassment for the city, and it cost the city a lot of money as well, having to go to court. I don't think the city council should have to relearn that lesson.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. And then, Mr. Romer, just for the aspect of the public, the council does not have the ability, can you speak to that, to go over the detailed plans before the zoning aspect?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. As the planner mentioned, it would be as part of the site plan review and then back to the planning commission. That's not before you.
Okay, and that is statutory, or how are we bound by that? Is that the City of Dearborn's rules?
Your criteria is contained in zoning ordinance 3206, which mirrors the MZEA, and those requirements are set out in the zoning code with great weight, as well as how the court gives weight is to the consistency with the master plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Romer. All right, next we have Ronald Montemurray.
Hi, Ronald Montemurray. I live at 1647 Linden Street. I've been there about 25 years. My parents bought the home in 77. I live like about a block and a half from Oakwood, from the property, and I pass it every day. I'm opposed to the zoning change. It was originally purchased as single-family residential, and I would like to see it kept that way. I believe that this is going to change the character of the neighborhood and lower the property values. And also what the previous speaker just spoke to, I addressed those to the council, and I wish they would make a decision on before they make the zoning decision, on all the things that the lady here has spoken to, about the studies that need to be done for the water retention, for example, the traffic study with Ford Motor Development Corporation, the new facility.
Mr. Montemurray, I got it right this time, right, Montemurray?
Montemurray, yes.
Yeah, just so you can, so we can be clear, what our planning and zoning manager is indicating, I apologize, indicating is that those decisions cannot be made by this body. That's made after. So I want to make sure you understand that.
But what I'm saying is those studies should be done before the zoning change has been made. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I know you are. That's not for the council's purview. Is that correct, Mr. I'm sorry, can you just iterate again? I'm sorry, Mr. Romer.
Yeah, again, that's correct. That is site plan review and before the planning commission. You just have the rezoning of the parcel before you, so you can't consider those items.
And nor can we condition it.
That's correct.
So what you're saying is you can pass the zoning and then make the studies.
The studies are depending on what happens after the council does it, depending on what the uses are and what the planning division decides, and the planning commission as well.
So what's going to be done first?
The first step is the zoning. Then after the zoning, whatever we can only go by the zoning. After the zoning, then whatever the uses are, it goes through the planning division.
I'm saying that the study should be done before the zoning is passed.
Okay.
That's what I have to say.
All right, thank you.
I'm opposed to the zoning change. I'd like to see a single-family residential. And like other people have said, there's other facilities around the city of Dearborn that are commercially zoned, and those are more appropriate. We don't want to see the nature of our neighborhood changed and the property values lowered.
Okay.
That's what it's all about.
Councilman Herrick?
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to reiterate and thank the mayor and his administration for a couple of the things that he mentioned regarding the property. The city, and we thank Beaumont or Corwell for being open to the new property accessing access through the private drive, Beaumont's private drive. So that should alleviate some of the concerns of traffic on Oakwood because they'll be able to access off that private drive that cuts across the property right now, well, next to the property that we're talking about. And we have yet to see the details of Oakwood's being turned back into a boulevard, as was discussed. There's funding from the county and the state that's going to help to make Oakwood back into a boulevard, but we haven't seen the design plans for that, and the mayor will keep us apprised of that development. But I'm sure that, well, I'm counting on that it will be taken into consideration. The current traffic concerns that we've all seen and heard you talk about, and we've seen them ourselves because of the hospital being there. You know, those are the things that they'll take into consideration. I'm counting on this as they redo Oakwood Boulevard. And then regarding the water This MS4 requirement, as the mayor pointed out, 100% of the water on that property must be captured and stay on the property. So when you're talking about, retention ponds or whatever, underground storage, whatever it takes, that will be discussed, but that will be a requirement for this property. So I just wanted to reiterate that in case anybody missed it when the city planning department and the mayor were talking about that before.
But also,
right, thank you.
Oakwood is very congested as it is with
Yeah.
Ford
Did the mayor
new
want to elaborate?
facility. That's going to really
I
make
was
it.
going to
Right,
give just
Mayor?
one clarifying point. Oakwood is a county road. And so it's the Wayne County's engineering department that's leading that project, which is why I don't have a full answer for you what the design looks like. They don't run it by us.
Right,
But we can reach out and ask them for that.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kitty. Gary Crosby, yes, Crosby.
Yeah, my name is Gary Crosby. I live on Culver in the first block from Oakwood. I drive past that property Monday through Wednesday on my way to teach at Lawrence Tech. So I know very much how heavy the traffic is there. I go there at the time because I'm trying to beat the Southfield traffic, which itself is quite heavy. I've said before, and I'll say it again, we appreciate the efforts of council and council members to make Dearborn a very livable city. As a person who lives on Culver, one of the worst fears we have is that Oakwood Hospital, Beaumont, Corwell is going to open up the rear entry to that. There's walking pedestrian access through there now. But if that were to happen, then the whole neighborhood residential area would change because the traffic would go through the neighborhood when they see the traffic jam at approaching Linden there. So zoning is critical. Zoning is critical to give the preservation of the city quality of life. And the zoning idea itself, that you have whole areas that are homogeneous residential area. What we're talking about at this point is not a homogeneous area. We're talking about what they called a spot rezoning. In other words, this is one 10-acre plot which is going to stick out as being different from the rest. It's not a residential area. It's not. It's going to be a retail business.
I'm going to correct you because 60% of the parcel.
Councilman Abraham, go ahead.
60% of the parcel is being requested to stay residential.
Okay, there's a difference between
you cannot argue that it's not residential. Okay, so just for everybody watching,
it's not residential.
Well, you're saying it's not residential, and this is a very difficult item in front of us. And it's kind of important that we not mislead people to misunderstand.
Residential A is different from residential E. In the letters that I've sent to Kaylee and others over the time from 2020, because I've been working Monday through Wednesday, so I don't come to council meetings, I don't come to the local meeting. I've sent my comments in on paper. The traffic is heavy. There's a real danger for people jaywalking, people coming into the hospital are distracted in that. It's a dangerous area, and it's going to become more dangerous. What has been revealed so far and is in your hands at this point is the zoning part. You're going to go from a low-density residential to a much higher density residential for that portion of it. Yes, that's clear from the RE. Where are the people going to work? They're going to work at Oakwood Hospital. They're going to be jaywalking, going across the street there because it's probably closer to their homes in that RE area than it is to park in the Beaumont Corwell parking lot and walk into the hospital. Jaywalking is a severe problem that I see firsthand. People aren't watching what's going on there. So those are concerns. Secondly, retail. We can't get anywhere in our area without driving
You have
somewhere.
30 seconds.
There is time
I
involved.
understand.
Okay. So this is a one spot with retail. It's going to be what they call like a pool in the neighborhood, an attractive nuisance. It's going to serve some purpose, but it's at a distance that people can walk to. It's an area with sidewalks. Can't go up to Fairlane Green because there are no sidewalks to get to Fairlane Green. So this is going to cause a serious safety hazard, you can say, by the uniqueness of the retail being so close. Hospital restaurants are expensive. They're going to walk across the street. You're going to have a lot of people put lives at risk. And you can see that at this point without the
forbidden details being shown to us, that you can have more people working, crossing the street, crossing Oakwood to get to the hospital.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Crosby. Anyone here would like to, Councilman Avery, you got? All right, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your comments. Next, we have Mr. Schwartzoff.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm Dirk Swartzoff. I live on 110 in Linden. My family's lived in this house for 70 years. My mother's 98 years old. My wife and I recently, a few years ago, moved back to take care of her. And to say the least, we've seen a lot of changes in the neighborhood. In the beginning, obviously, there was a massive baby boom, lots of kids. Then that tapered off. There was no new families moving in. The streets were quiet. In recent years, new families have moved in. Kids are playing in the street. It's a beautiful thing. This is a neighborhood. It's alive again. So I'm concerned that a gigantic apartment complex is going to be popping up immediately adjacent to Linden Street. There's no buffer zone. It's right there. And this will have a negative effect on the property values. People, lots of veterans on my street, nothing but American flags down my street. These guys have been property owners. They pay their taxes all their lives. Mothers lived there 70 years. It would be a shame to see that damaged. Also, there's a lot of shopping on the hill, which is in Allen Park, just across M39. Since that was built, I've seen an upsurge in vagrants on Oakwood Boulevard. Never would see this before, ever, ever. And I assume they're coming from Melvindale, they're walking down the street, they're going there, then they're going out into the neighborhood. Not a lot of it, but I don't want to see more of it. The neighborhood itself, it's in a vulnerable place. It's right by M39. It makes it kind of vulnerable to robberies, cars being broken into, and we've seen more of this kind of thing in recent years. And also its proximity to Melvindale, Allen Park. So I would hate to see the neighborhood change. It's always been a neighborhood of homeowners. It's unique in that aspect. And I think popping a bunch of apartment buildings right next door to it will be very damaging. My neighbor, who is a state trooper, spoke of this at the Planning Commission. He said, apartment buildings, I'm sorry
You
to
have
say,
30 seconds.
but they are associated with crime. When a state trooper tells me something like this, I listen. They're a beautiful young couple. They're looking for a new house somewhere else because of their concerns about this development. There's going to be more of this. So please preserve the integrity of my neighborhood. It's in your hands. Don't okay the zoning without proper analysis. You don't have to. You're opening up a potential Pandora's box. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Lastly, we have Mr. Kevin O'Brien.
Good evening, everybody. Council, Mayor, Kevin O'Brien, 1234 Linden. Lived there since '97. Born and raised in Dearborn, graduated from the greatest high school in Dearborn, Etzel Ford. Yeah, the best.
Where is it?
Etzel Ford, it's in Dearborn, Michigan. Very concerned with rezoning and not involving the community. Having worked for the city for over 34 years, knowing all the ins and outs, how this all works, how the intake process starts, how it moves through. I was actually part of the intake process when we created it. My biggest concern in this whole process, it is an RA. The landowners bought this as an RA, okay? Single-family ranches, let it blend into the neighborhood. That's all good and well. Businesses on Oakwood, absolutely not. the bar, the gas station, the nuts and cuckoos at the hospital, the surgery center, and then we have the schools and the school buses and all the wonderful children. All the wonderful residents in this city do not deserve this 10 acres of land to be disturbed in any other fashion other than single-family homes. That's what the people bought it as. If you wanted to make something else out of it, then he should have, bought it that way. I really appreciate all the work that planning did, all the money that the citizens paid and spent for all the hours that went into all of this research just to change the zoning. When the zoning just needs to be RA, single family, I don't care if it's 20, 30 houses, but there's too many cars over there now. If you want to go RE and you want to do some type of it doesn't matter. Let's just get back to how many vehicles are going to be in that 10-acre spot overnight, during the day, coming and going. We're talking about another 50, 100, 200 cars. It's not cool.
You have 30 seconds?
We really need to take care of our citizens in this little area of our city, because 10 acres of land could end up being a really, really bad situation if we don't watch our P's and Q's when we rezone this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. All right, anyone else here to speak on this topic from the audience? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Any other questions from my council colleagues? Again, this is the first reading. Councilman Abraham.
Yeah, like I said a minute ago, this is, to me, a very complicated issue because it has a big impact on this neighborhood, and we all take that very seriously. I am not particularly comfortable or uncomfortable, for that matter, with the RE zoning proposal. I've spoken to a lot of the staff that's been involved with this. The RE zoning is not a popular zoning district for us, but I do know this. Throughout the city, there's at least 8 or 10 pockets of RE zoning, and they're all adjacent to strong neighborhoods, and all adjacent to strong neighborhoods with strong property values. And as much as that concerns me, we can't overlook the true outcomes of that. When you look at every one of those examples of high-density buildings, high-density residential buildings in neighborhoods, there's not a single neighborhood that's weak. There's not a single neighborhood that's undervalued. And I'm not saying that's the only element that makes my decision, but I think it's important that we recognize that the RE zoning adjacent to RA single-family residential neighborhoods can be successful. And I said this privately, I'll say it publicly. The zoning is only one component to success or failure. The people behind it have more impact than the zoning classification. And you could see numerous examples of RA zoning that's hideous. It's throughout our city, you can see it. BB zoning that's hideous. But you can also see a lot of examples of success. And I know the neighbors are very concerned, and so am I. And I'm studying this issue and wondering, what's going to happen there. And unfortunately for me, I was elected to make this decision. And what we have to base it on is the allowable business uses in the BB. The VP is pretty easy to understand. It's only accessory parking to the BB. But also, there are so many elements of the RE, from a high-rise building to townhouse-type condominiums that would be, to me, very complementary to the neighborhood. So with that, I just wanted to share with everybody that's watching and emphasize again, the process we have does not allow us to do what's been suggested, which is go through a traffic study and go through all kinds of elements that happen
We
afterwards.
tried to make that clear, but I don't.
I don't think it got through.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
know
it got
you
through.
did, it's very clear to us, but for people that don't understand the process, it's actually, if we did that, it would give the petitioner grounds for appeal in court.
Absolutely.
So that's the law. You guys can all shake your head out there and smile, but that's the law, and we have to follow it. So that's all I have, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Abram. Anything else from my colleagues? Okay, at this time, Ms. Clerk, oh, you'd like to add something? Yeah, sure.
Just because I know the RA zoning classification keeps coming up. Biggest thing, obviously, with the rezoning, as our corporation council indicated, is alignment with the master plan. The current RA zoning is actually not in alignment with the master plan. I noted that in the memo, but I just wanted to make sure that that was understood as well.
Well, I do appreciate that. I think you did say that, but that's a good to reiterate. So the current zoning is not in compliance with the master plan.
That is correct.
All right.
Can I make one more
Councilman
comment?
Abram? Of course.
And just to, again, looking even at the RA zoning as it is today, there are uses that would be more intense than what's being proposed today.
Yes.
They could open a school there, they could open a place of faith.
Yeah.
There's a lot of uses in the RA that are equally or more intensive than BB. So just keep that in mind. You know, that's one of those things, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Just throw that out there.
Thank you. All right, so at this time, Mr. Clerk, can we have the first reading?
This is the first reading of
Thank you
ordinance
again.
number 24-1819, an ordinance to amend section 9.02 of ordinance number 06-1111 of the city of Dearborn by rezoning the property located at 18,000 Oakwood Boulevard from an RA one-family residential district to a BB community business district, RE multiple family residential, and VP vehicular parking district zoning classification.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Unanimous roll shall be attached unless I hear any objections. Hearing none, so is attached. Next item.
Item 33, resolution by council members Abraham and Herrick awarding a contract to K&S Ventures, Inc. in the amount of $119,277 for a pool boiler replacement at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center.
Please try to exit without making any disruption for the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Have you concluded?
Yes.
All right, so the pools in the natatorium, did I get that right?
You did it.
All right. I practiced that one. At the Ford Community and Performance Arts Center are currently heated year-round by the main, God, I can't pronounce it, Lacanard, I can't pronounce that one, but Lacanard, thank you. Lacanard Crest boilers. The boilers are effective and efficient in the winter months. However, it is not economical to keep the boilers operating during the summer months using over 1 million BTUs. Standalone boilers will reduce the natural gas consumption and save energy costs, and will also reduce and save the life cycle of the unit when it's not running during the boiler when it's not running during the summer months. Public Works and Facilities and the Department of Parks and Recreation, in conjunction with the purchasing, recommends issuing a contract for the pool boilers at the Ford Community Performing Arts Center to K&S Ventures in the value of $119,277. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 34, resolution by council members Herrick and Enos awarding a single-source contract to Curtis Glass Company in the total amount of $128,423, which includes a 5% contingency in the amount of $6,115 for glazing installation at the new engineering suite located at the Department of Public Works. I'm requesting immediate effect.
Okay, as part of the master plan, the engineering department is moving to the DPW in order to in order to allow a better cohesive work environment and synergies. Glazing is required as part of the build-out of the new engineering suite and is needed to provide a safe and comfortable environment for our city engineering staff. Public Works and Facilities Department, in conjunction with purchasing, recommends issuing a contract for the installation of the glazing components to a newly built engineering suite located at the DPW to Curtis Glass company. The fiscal impact is $128,000. The request is $128,423, which includes $6,115 and a 5% contingency, and immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments on this item? Councilman Hamud.
As I stated at the whole, at this time, I don't see between this item and the next item a good justification to either move the engineering department as well as building a new building and suite for them. And I think this is an item that unfortunately is not the best value of taxpayer dollars, nearly $750,000 worth of engineering. So just want to put that on record.
I can speak to it if you like.
Okay, Mayor?
Yeah, so thank you so much. So the two agenda items we have before you, we're obviously trying to consolidate all of our DPW staff largely under one roof. Right now, engineering is the sole DPW unit that's separated from the rest of the folk who work over at Greenfield. And we also have a lack of synergy between the water department, sewer department, and those working in engineering. To accommodate those from the engineering department that have to touch with economic development, there's flex scheduled desks that will be placed on the first floor for any that are going back and forth. But largely speaking, the majority of the engineering unit will be over with the DPW staff. For us, we're making investments in our employees. We saw that we got a $5 million grant to upgrade the fire stations across our city. We're pursuing another grant to upgrade our police station as well as provide upgrades for general staff employees as it pertains to workplace conditions. They're largely operating out of cubicles that were donated to us by Ford that were probably back from the 70s or 80s, and largely those parts are kind of breaking up right now. And so for us, making an investment in employees is not a lackluster investment. It's something that we believe in doing, especially if we think that we can also improve the camaraderie and the relations that are happening between members of the same department. Right now, DPW is very isolated. Furthermore, I'd also add that as we prospectively look at how we're currently operating now, if we were to shuffle around employees within this building, we need to expand the area of work for economic development on the first floor, which means we have to migrate the finance department off of the first floor. And migrating the finance department off the first floor will place them on the second floor where currently the engineering department currently interacts. And so for us, that's the other thing that we're taking into account as we move divisions around to provide more space for us to accommodate the way that we're working today.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Al-Swafi.
So I understand we have two items in front of us, which total over $600,000. What other costs can we expect to make this move happen in terms of IT infrastructure, furniture, construction? So we're trying to understand the total picture here. What is this move going to cost us?
You want to speak to it, Tim?
Good evening, Tim Hawkins, DPW Director. A lot of the cabling upgrades for IT has already been run through DPW. When we got there was none. We implemented the first emails to our staff last November. To all 237 members now have emails. So we've done the upgrading for IT. What you'll be looking at for this suite will be carpeting and painting. As soon as we finish the drywall, which we've already purchased and we are about to put up, as soon as we pass our inspections, you'll be looking at painting and flooring probably.
So after this cost that we're spending, this amount, over $600,000, can we expect more items to come forward to complete the move in terms of infrastructure? And
yeah.
How much more?
I'm not sure.
What is the total do you expect?
I'm not sure. The furniture is something that we will have to look into what we want to do there.
Well, I mean, total, what do you expect? How much more? Are we looking double that amount of money?
I'm not sure on the furniture because
not the furniture, the total cost. What is the total cost going to be? You see what's in front of us today of what we're spending
for paint and flooring.
Is that all you need? Is paint and flooring after
paint
this?
And flooring.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, so we shouldn't expect another $100,000 ask or anything like that. Under $50,000.
We're gonna go out for bid for
yeah,
it.
they got to go out for bid. I can't make a conjecture on that.
Well, you're saying you just need paint right now, right, and flooring. So that
right.
doesn't sound like much.
Yeah, we have to install the drywall, and then we will paint the ceiling and the flooring, and there is lighting actually.
And then what's your plan for assessment of how this move is effective after the move? How do you plan to assess that it's successful?
I think at the immediate, you no longer have an isolated subdivision of the whole DPW department, especially when you're trying to build morale amongst employees. It's kind of strange that the only subdivision of DPW that does not interact with the rest of the employees is engineering. They're isolated off into their own little corner upstairs.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
And
Councilman
it's
Enos?
not bad for plan review, given you have flex scheduling on the first floor for those that have to be present, as well as the ability to make an appointment.
Okay, Councilman Enos.
No. Is Curtis Glass the same company we're using for the curtain wall?
Yes, it is.
Okay, how do you assess them?
They have done an excellent job. They've actually brought other issues up to us with the curtain wall. They fixed the leak. They were able to build a system in-house that resolved the leak inside the rec center.
Thank you.
All right, Councilman Hamud.
Yeah, I'll just say, as somebody who works with flex desks, they don't work very effectively. And in terms of, you can't convince me that this is going to improve efficiency before they don't even have digital plan review yet. So if this move was maybe being made next year, after they all got the ability to communicate their plans digitally with the ECD department and all the processes were already rolled out to actually make that happen, you guys have a much stronger case. But right now, the way things stand, where we're still doing paper review and the processes are not built out the way that they should be inside of ECD, it rings hollow with me, a lot of the reasons. And I think there's other things more urgent that we could spend $1 million on than moving around employees, where we also know the DAC is not necessarily a full building unless things have changed. Because we were about to go offer the, what's it called?
Chamber.
The chamber room in here. So I mean, again, it's a tough, it's a tough sale for me. So just personally, thank you.
Director Hawkins.
If I may say one thing, the issue with the glazing is you've already approved the masonry work where they took out the roll-up doors. I have tarps in the building that are keeping water out. So the glazing actually encloses the building and makes it watertight again. So I do appreciate this, but I would like to have windows in by winter, please.
All right.
If not,
You got me on that one. All right, I'll admit that one. That's a good one.
Councilwoman Herrick.
Thank you, Council President. Just for my clarification, in our backup material, the budget information states that the project J28-124 DPW facility update, total approved project budget is $2,010,442. And so is that just this project? Because right now we're looking at 1.8 million, 1.8521, and then the next item on our budget is also, or in our agenda is another item related to this project. So I know you said you weren't sure what the total was going to be, but was the total approved budget for this particular project $2 million?
No, we're working. No, we're working on several projects at once, and the next
That's
item,
just
we're
the
not
fun-
there yet. There's a plumbing line
I'm just
item.
asking for clarification.
Yeah, no,
Thank
I
you.
know. I just want to make sure, no, I know, but I just,
Yes.
I'm glad you did, because this is something as you know, I initiated to be on every one of these agendas.
Yeah.
So this is for DPW facility updates.
Yes.
That's the fund that she's looking at.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make
Yes,
sure.
so the next line item also has plumbing on there, which is the installation of women's bathrooms in DPW. Currently, there's only one. We have 5 men's. So we're creating, because as you know, my deputy director is a female, and we've put on a much larger female staff than we had in the past. So I need to make them comfortable in the facility as well. That's part of it. Secondary is we're having a quote go out for asbestos remediation throughout the facility. The ceiling tiles are laden with asbestos, as well as the floor tiles, so that will also be coming to you when we get the bid out for all of that.
Are there any other projects other than what you've kind of talked about today in that project budget for DPW, the $2 million?
If there's funds, we'd like to update our restrooms all the way through. Ceilings caved in the restroom inside my office. It's a facility built in the late 60s and was not updated at all. It's been continually overlooked on a capital improvement basis, and that is what we're trying to do.
And this is all a part of the budget that was proposed and approved by council last year for 2023 up to 2024. So.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And basically, dependent on material prices and labor prices, we're trying to get every penny that we can out of that budget to improve our facility.
And as we've done all along, we've been trying to catch up on all the deferred maintenance. I mean, the idea that we're spending $5 million to upgrade fire stations, DPW, they have holes in restrooms, concaving ceilings. We're building new pole barns to store our new equipment that we traditionally had under broken pole barns that shattered front windshields of new vehicles. And so we're catching up on a lot of deferred maintenance and also making improvements to make sure the employees are comfortable in the Dearborn destination, not only to live, but also to work. And so we're trying to make those investments.
I think most of the council members, if not all of us, have toured the facility when the director took over and seen that there hasn't been anything, I'm not sure anything been updated in at least 20 or 30 years, and compliance to ADA and work. So I know that we all are in agreement about our upgrades for our facilities. I mean, it's the city tax dollars and the city's property. It made no sense to store multi-million-dollar machines under aluminum structure with no sides and so on and so forth. So we understand where it's coming from and what we're doing. So and as the Councilwoman Herrick indicated, it was through our budgetary process. So any other questions or comments? Councilman El Sawafi again?
Director, do you have a plan maybe to pilot this move prior to moving everybody and then requesting this $600,000 investment or more?
No. Putting the windows in, I mean, I'm going to lose energy efficiency like you wouldn't believe. Secondarily, we've cut doorways through the building, so not heating a portion of the building, we're going to rely on smaller heaters to heat the entire facility. So it will lose all value in energy efficiency by leaving this without a designated.
By pilot, I guess I'm saying not make the total move and pilot it that way, but a smaller group, so you don't have to.
Personnel or equipment?
Personnel.
Oh, personnel? I mean, again, we're dealing with trying to bring everybody together, not separate further. Right. So I had not planned on piloting anything. We're trying to get synergy between departments.
Right, but what's before us, you're indicating is going to be necessary regardless if the administration indicated they're not going to move the engineering department there. What's before us is we have to close the building up.
Yeah. Yes, I would.
Correct?
Yes. Yeah. There's no windows in it, and there's no heat in 2/3 of the building. But I will tell you, if you choose not to move engineering, I would love to move over to the suite. It's much nicer than mine.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Any objection? Unanimous roll. All right. Unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 35, resolution by council members Abraham and Enos awarding a single source contract to Quality Air Systems in the total amount of $616,992, which includes a 5% contingency in the amount of $29,380 for mechanical, HVAC, and plumbing installation at the new engineering suite located at the Department of Public Works and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. As part of the master plan, the engineering department is moving to the DPW department, and the mechanical, HVAC, and plumbing systems are required as part of the build-out of the new engineering suite and are needed to provide a safe, comfortable work environment for our city engineering staff. Public Works and Facilities Department, in conjunction with purchasing, recommends issuing a contract of installation of the mechanical and HVAC plumbing systems in a newly built suite to Quality Air Systems. The requested amount is $616,992, which includes $29,380, which is 5% of a contingency fee. Immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments on this item?
So, question.
Councilman Hamud.
So, help me understand, this is $600,000 for just the new portion of the building?
Yes.
So just
Tim Hawkins, DPW Director. Yes, this is just for the new portion of the building, the installation, plumbing of a secondary bathroom for the females in the office, and the removal of open element tube heaters, which were ran through the building to heat, and there's no air conditioning.
So, have you bid out the portion of the building that already exists that needs all the work that you were describing earlier?
That portion, the rooftop unit was replaced about 10 years ago, and it is a functional rooftop, but we are bidding out the asbestos remediation, ceiling tile and floor as we speak.
So why are we proceeding with building a new portion of the building before we finished fixing the old portion of the building?
Because DPW is all about customer service, and really, we figure that putting this together will improve streets, roads, things that are being repaired with the synergy between water, sewer, and engineering. And that's more important to take care of the residents, and then we can fix our house.
What aspects of the engineering department are actually interacting on a working basis regularly with the sewer department instead of, my understanding of engineering is it generally is strategic, and then the engineers go out and audit the projects as they're being done. It's like saying that I need to be in a plant in order to build vehicles. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So some of the issues where they interact daily are actually like the sewer repairs. So we replace sewer taps that have fallen, and we have dedicated 2 people just to do those sewer taps. So we also have to have the sewer division go out and scope sewer taps as well as replace them. We have also incorporated with the lead line piece, the water department weighing which water mains and road replacements we're going to do based on the number of lead services. We have about 12,000 throughout the city, and we just applied for a loan for about 4,000 partials to be replaced. So engineering is working hand in hand with the water department on the lead line and with sewer on the drop tap sewer replacement off the leads.
And the other point I'll add is just to your earlier point, we're doing it all in parallel. This idea that we're not repairing the existing facilities and focusing on a new unit, there's not, I mean, we're obviously, you gave us permission to construct a whole new storage facility outside. We're working on updating our fire stations. We're working on making updates to the Performing Arts Center. So we're working on taking care of the facilities that we currently have, in addition to running in parallel what we believe to be the future footprint of our employees. And so we're doing it in congruent of one another. It's not one happening in isolation than the other.
Yeah, I think my comment is, you guys have seen that I'm abundantly supportive of updating facilities, and I've never had an issue with that, and I was extremely supportive of DPW putting up that new facility to protect their trucks. I have a very hard time personally approving monies to, and this isn't like a small chunk, this is a significant portion of money to build out new buildings when, first, I don't think that our buildings currently are necessarily capacitized in our current footprint. Second, the director also said it himself, which is, this is gonna be a nicer portion of the building than what the current employees who are already at the yard have. Why don't we upgrade what the people there are already dealing with before we start creating new facilities and then increasing our footprint? I mean, you're actually increasing operating costs by doing that, so.
I don't know how you're increasing operating costs.
Because when you have a bigger building, it costs more to maintain it. It's math, so. Okay, I'm all set, thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, roll call vote?
Yes, please.
Councilmember Hamud.
No.
Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Councilmember Paris.
Yes.
Councilmember El Sawafi.
No.
Councilmember Herrick.
Yes.
Council President Sereni.
Yes.
Councilman Enos.
Yes.
5 yeas, the resolution passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item.
Item 36, resolution by council members Herrick and Paris authorizing the finance director to recognize the 2023 U.S. Department of Justice Assistant Grant in the amount of $22,586.90 in account number 101-2401-333.01-90, which is the Police Administration Intergovernmental Revenue Federal Fund, and appropriate the same in account number 101-2410-511.98-00, which is the Police Administration, and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The Dearborn Police Department applied for and received a federal grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, or DOJ, Bureau of Justice Assistance. The award of the 2023 Justice Assistance Grant. The amount of the award is $22,586.90. This is a reimbursement grant, and no local match is needed. The grant will be utilized for law enforcement related purchases as the chief of police deems necessary and immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll should be attached. Next item.
Item 37, resolution by council members Enos and Al-Sawafi approving the application of Great Lakes Fireworks LLC on Marine Street in East Point, Michigan, to obtain a special events license in order to conduct a fireworks display at the privately owned Dearborn Country Club on June 29th, 2024 at 10 p.m., also waiving all the noise ordinance requirements for the duration of the firework display and authorizing the fire chief to schedule a rain date if necessary and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The Dearborn Country Club is seeking city council approval of a fireworks show on June 29th, 2024 at 10 p.m. This display will take place at the Country Club northeast of the clubhouse, also requesting the fire chief to be allowed to set a rain date as needed. The fire marshal has reviewed the plan and has approved the set up and emergency planning. This is an annual event with many prior council approvals. Any questions or comments on this? Oh, okay. Anything from the council? One sec. Okay. Anything from the public?
Hello, Tila Moray, 3804 Alice Street. So I guess my comments are both about this and just generally fireworks. Every year I see people posting on Nextdoor saying, hey, I don't like the fireworks show. It scares my dogs. It scares, veterans. And so I'm wanting to, for one, for this issue itself, are we going to notify the people nearby that this show is going to be happening? Is there anything for that?
Mr. Mendelson, I don't think there's a requirement legally. I know that this notice is the public notice. Mr. Mendelson, I'm sorry. Mr. Romer, I apologize.
Very good.
He's doing a good job, Brad.
Yeah, there is no statutory notice requirement. The notice requirement would go out with the publication of the fireworks in the event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just by the event.
Okay. Then also for fireworks come July 4th, are there any investigations we're doing into alternatives to the traditional, explosions in the sky fireworks?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't speak to that, but it is, I know the mayor can speak to it a little bit. It's a
July
state, there's state laws regarding that aspect. It's not governed by our city.
Yeah, the fireworks
Mr. Mayor.
laws regulated by state law, and so they're the ones who amended some years back, permitting all the ones that you see up in the air.
Sure. Right.
Prior to the state amending that law, it was not permissible in the state of Michigan, and I know that there's a constant debate about reverting back to the former law, but it hasn't moved forward.
Is there a city fireworks show that happens on the 4th?
No, there's no city
Okay.
fireworks show. We have our fireworks show for Homecoming Festival.
Okay.
First weekend of August.
And are there thoughts about changing that fireworks show to being some sort of alternative?
I can tell you, at this point for this year, we do have fireworks on the two traditional days, Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
We are making a trip to Sterling Heights the weekend before. They're doing a drone show this year to go check that out. But at this point, I think, so as of right now, it still is a fireworks show.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And then Greenfield Village does their fireworks show as well. I'm not sure what days they are, but they're around that time as well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilman Al-Sawafi?
No, disregard. He answered my question.
Okay. Disregard. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Any objection to unanimous roll? Hearing and seeing none, so is attached. Next item.
Item 38, resolution by council members Herrick and Al-Sawafi authorizing the Parks and Recreation Department to conduct firework displays at Camp Dearborn on Saturday, May 25th, Friday, July 5th, and Sunday, September 21st, 2024, and requesting immediate effect.
All right, Camp Dearborn has set 3 dates to include firework displays for visitors of Camp Dearborn. The 3 dates will be Saturday, May 25th, Friday, July 5th, and Sunday, September 1st. The total requested amount is $32,500 and is requesting immediate effect. Mr. Fletcher, you'd like to speak on it?
Yeah, good evening, Sean Fletcher, Parks and Recreation Director. I apologize for not noting this sooner, but the actual date in May is Sunday, the 26th.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that got corrected.
All right, this was offered by Councilwoman Herrick and supported by Councilman Al-Sawafi. Councilwoman Herrick, do you have any objection to the date Sunday, May 26th?
No objection.
Okay, Councilman Al-Sawafi?
No objection.
All right, so Mr. Clerk, can you make a note that an error that it is Sunday, May 26th?
Yes. The only other thing I wanted to add is these are smaller shows, but because we're doing 3 of them as opposed to one big show that we did on the 75th, so probably about 20 minutes in duration. So.
Not bad. We were there for the 75th. It was excellent. Same vendor or different vendors?
I believe, same one, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, excellent, excellent show. So it was really nice. Hopefully, we look forward to it out at camp. Thank you
No
so
rain.
much. Yeah, no rain, hopefully. All right, any other questions or comments on this item? Any objection to unanimous roll? Hearing and seeing none shall be attached. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item 40, resolution by Councilmember Serini, supported by Councilmember Hamud, enforcing Section 6.5 and 7.9 of the city charter and Council Rule of Order 3.5 by requiring attendance of certain appointed officers or directors of departments at regularly scheduled city council meetings for the entire duration of the meeting and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Under our city charter and our council rules, the council desires that directors of certain departments be present at their regular scheduled city council meetings for the duration of the meeting. Attendance requirements shall apply to the following appointee officers, directors of the departments: Department of Public Health, Department of Libraries, Communication Department, Parks and Recreation, Public Works and Facilities, Finance Director, Fire Chief, Police Chief, Community Relations, IT, City Assessor, and Economic Development. If an appointed officer, director, or a certain department is unable to attend the regular scheduled council meeting, they may send a designee in their place and must notify the council office in writing no later than 5 p.m. on Monday, immediately before the Tuesday meeting, and this is to be given immediate effect. Any questions or comments on this item? All right, hearing and seeing none, unanimous. Before I do unanimous roll, Mr. Romer, for the council, once this is effective, what's the best means to communicate this to all directors? Would it be through the legal department to be sent out? Or?
Already communicated. We're going to have the chief of.
All right.
We're going to have the chief of staff send out a communication to the directors.
All right. All right. Any other questions or comments? And unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 41, resolution by Council President Serini, supported by Councilmember Hamud, recommending to investigate the Department of Recreation as it relates to the handling of trailers at Camp Dearborn.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. So item 41, I had a conversation with my colleagues and as well as the mayor. The mayor was out of town, and I am withdrawing this item as long as Councilman Hamud will also withdraw it. What we have is assurance from the mayor. We are working, and I indicated to my colleagues, to get a complete list of everything that's necessary. Unfortunately, the council has limited powers without using charter provisions such as this to require subpoenas, evidence, calling people to come that might feel like they don't want to come. So I had full assurance by the mayor that our tentative meeting is set for the Camp Dearborn TV2 trailer incidents and situations is not set yet, but it's tentatively set for June 12th after Memorial Weekend. So this weekend, obviously. So at this point, I have full confidence that the mayor will make sure that, and my colleagues are full aware that we are circulating. Did we circulate the email? Not yet. Asking for any feedback on camp. Yeah. We did. We sent all council email of what we are requesting. Once the council members share the feedback, then we will forward it to the administration, and I have full confidence that that will all be done. Councilman Hamud, do you have any objection?
Well, I think just because we're on the Tuesday meeting, we have to make a motion to withdraw and vote in the affirmative.
I don't know if we have to vote. What's the requirement? I'm withdrawing.
No, so you don't need to make a motion. The person who offered has withdrawn their offer, so you need an offer to proceed with this item.
Is
whether
that
you
our
withdraw
special
your
rules
support or
as
not.
council, or do you think that's in Robert's rules?
I'm sorry?
I'm saying, is that in our current rules of order as, you're the parliamentarian?
All of your items need an offer and support to engage in discussion. You cannot engage in the discussion of the item and move the item to approval without an offer and support.
Okay,
That is your council rules, that is Robert's Rules Basic 101.
All right, so with my
Robert's rules, but it's fine. If it's in our council rules, then I'm fine with it.
Basic offer support
Okay,
needed
all right.
to move it with the body.
But once it, okay.
All right, so we can discuss it offline.
It's
Do you
fine.
want-
All right, yeah.
Okay, it's
I'll-
withdrawn.
I'll
Is that
withdraw it, yeah, it's fine.
okay, Mr. Romer?
Yeah. Yes.
That I can withdraw.
If he withdrew his support, it's officially withdrawn. Otherwise,
I withdraw my offer. Do you withdraw your
support?
support?
Yeah, of course.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so the offer, the support is withdrawn, so this item withdrawn. Next item.
Item 42, resolution by council members Hamud and Abraham concurring in the appointment of Gary Giacomantonio to the Board of Safety Engineers with a term ending June 30th, 2027, and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And this is, I just again want to thank all appointees and reappointees to our boards and commissions for this volunteer positions. We really do appreciate it. This item is to appoint Gary I can't pronounce that.
Giancomantonio.
Okay. Gio Comentonio. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. To the Board of Safety Engineers for a term of 3 years ending June 30th, 2027. Any questions or comments on this? Would like to thank him for his service. Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 43, resolution by council members Sereni and El Sawafi concurring in the appointment of Michael Phillips to the Planning Commission with a term ending June 30th, 2027, and requesting immediate effect.
Again, we'd like to thank Mr. Michael Phillips, and this item is to appoint him to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2027. Any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Councilman Al-Swafi.
I just want to highlight that Mr. Michael Phillips has been an outstanding citizen of the city of Dearborn. And I believe last week or the week before, they even volunteered to help clean up parts of the city and mayor.
Do it once a year.
Yep, so outstanding citizen and really appreciate him dedicating some of his time to be on this commission. So thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing seen none, unanimous roll should be attached. Next item.
Item 44, resolution by council members Paris and Enos concurring in the appointment of Julie Mae Worthman to the Warren Business District Authority with a term ending June 30th, 2027, and requesting immediate effect.
All right, this item is an appointment for Julie Mae Worthman to be appointed to the Warren Business District Authority at a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2027. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 45, resolution by council members Abraham and Enos concurring in the appointment of Mohammed Carl Mackey to the West Dearborn Downtown Development Authority with a term ending June 30th, 2028, and requesting immediate effect.
All right, again, this is an appointment for Mohammed Camel Mackey to the West Downtown Dearborn Authority, West DDA, and this is for a 4-year term ending June 30th, 2028. And again, I would like to thank them all for their service. And just a reminder for the council, every one of these appointments or reappointments have the same terminology indicating that they must meet the criteria stated in their field or requirements are subject to, they will be subject to removal. Any other questions or comments? All right, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Nothing further on the agenda for this evening. Thank you.
All right, so for myself, I'd like to, before I open it up to my colleagues, I have a few things. I just wanted to highlight, I don't know if we were able to get any photos? Oh, we did? All right. So some great achievements happening around in the city of Dearborn, no matter what school you support. So I wanted to make sure to highlight this. Our former council president and a friend of mine, Councilman Tom Tafowski, his son, Jake Tafowski, 21-year-old Dearborn High School graduate, made history as the first Dearborn resident to play for the University of Notre Dame football team. He is a student and he's a grad transfer from Dearborn High School, went to play at Central Michigan, and he is now moving on to Notre Dame. So we wanted to highlight that and congratulate him on a tremendous feat. I can tell you that his father was very proud of it, and we're very proud of him too. So it's a great feat and a great university. So we do wish him the best of luck on that. Next we have a relative of mine, Hamzi El-Zayat. This is a great story. This is my first cousin's son, and he's a Fortune graduate that took a tremendous journey to Fordham University, transferred to Eastern Michigan, and some of you might have seen his highlights scoring a running back a touchdown, 2 of them last year at Eastern Michigan, and is now signed a contract with our Dearborn's own Robert Saleh, the head coach of the New York Jets. This is a big deal, folks, and we wanted to congratulate him and recognize him. To see our young people, whether it's a practice squad or anywhere at that level of athletic achievement is superior, to say the least, and we wanted to recommend and congratulate Hamza El-Zayed. We have another gentleman, Ian Browser. He's a Dearborn native that is set to attend this year's 2024 PGA Championship. This comes after an outstanding performance at the PGA Professional Championship in Texas. So we got it all over football, and college football, pro football, and PGA Championship. Dearborn natives continue to shine throughout the nation. So we really wanted to make notice to him and wish them the best of luck. I also wanted to make a couple other announcements that we have. Our Dearborn resident, Wayne County judge, and previous school board member Miriam Saad Bazzi. Congratulate her on being named the 2024 Mary S. Coleman Leadership Award recipient. The award is given out yearly to current and former members of the Michigan federal, state, or tribunal judiciary whose leadership, talent, and significant contributions to women provide a role model for women in the profession and in general. We want to thank Miriam Bazzi and congratulate her on such a feat. One more recognition. This one here we're saving. I'm sorry. The other one, I don't have it. We have Zina. I think Zina Al Hassan. She is Zina Al Hassan. Yes, she wanted to. Yeah, Zina. She likes Zina. But this is my item, so let me say what name I want to say it.
All right.
So Miss Al Hassan is now one of the longest-serving corporation councils of Wayne County history. She has moved on to Kresge Corporation as the corporation counsel there for the last few years, a Dearborn resident, and she also won a Women's Leadership Award, which was a very big deal. We see a lot of our friends and Dearborn natives continue to go out into the greater part of the Michigan and continue to produce, and I want to make sure she was recognized as well. Besides that, I got all those out of the way. Wanted to make sure they were all noticed. I want to wish everybody a very happy Memorial Weekend. This is a lot of fun time. Some of you will visit the pools opening up. I believe they're all open up. Two. Well, the other two are renovations, so we'll take that. Sign of progress. The pools that will be open, children 13 and under, Mayor, are no charge. Which, by the way, budgetary, we have found that to be not a budget neutral, but a positive. We've seen more enrollment since that, which is a tremendous idea, Mayor. I just want everybody to enjoy their holidays. It's a very, very nice holiday and festive, but also there's a purpose behind it, correct? I mean, the memorial and the service of service members, and to give your life for the service of your country is a very, very big part. Many of you know my brother's 29 years, captain now in the United States Navy, and service to your country in the military and the armed forces is a very big deal. And this time is to remembrance of people that have fallen and have given the ultimate sacrifice. So I know a lot of us are out there swimming, making hot dogs and hamburgers, but this is a time for pause and remembrance, and not just a holiday. It's a very, very big point. So hopefully all of our city will reflect on that as well. And remember our parade, Mayor, was one of the longest. Do we have a flyby? I know is that still top secret, or do we have a flyby?
We do. Top secret.
Top secret.
We do.
I'll tell you, the flybys in our Dearborn, our Memorial Day parade is one of the longest standing parades in the state for sure, if not in the country. So hopefully we will see you attending that as well. And at this time, I'd like to open it up to my colleagues. Councilman Al-Swafi.
Thank you, Council President, for highlighting Memorial Day. I appreciate that and its importance. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible success of the Dearborn Fire Department for the recent Stuff the Boot Walk the Red fundraising campaign. This initiative is spearheaded by Chief Murray and on-the-ground Battalion Chief Ryan Phipps, aimed to raise money for the 55 Michigan firefighters who were diagnosed with cancer since last September. So just a heartfelt thank you to Chief Murray and Battalion Chief Ryan Phipps for your leadership, the Dearborn Fire Department members and retirees who volunteered their time to stand at the intersections and connected with the community, and of course, Neighbors United, who was a critical partner in this endeavor. And the 9-day campaign yielded a remarkable outcome. The Dearborn Fire Department raised a grand total of over $25,000. And I think this speaks volume to the generosity of the Dearborn community and the tireless efforts of everyone involved. I was out there with the boot. It was a little bit cold that day, but I really appreciate the Dearborn residents who donated and for not running me over, so I appreciate that. And we have you here. Can you speak a little bit about that campaign, please?
I'd love to speak about it. Laura Wright, our Deputy Fire Chief. The Walk for the Red is a foundation that was started here in Michigan, and it raises money to help cover the costs for firefighters diagnosed with cancer each year. Their aim is to give $5,000 to each firefighter. In about the last 7 months, we have had 55 firefighters diagnosed. They show up at their house with a check for $5,000, present it to them to help cover parking, co-pays, whatever needs arise for them during that time. And the Dearborn community, the firefighters were out there with your support and approving that for us to go out and do that, but it was the community that donated the money. The firefighters gave the time, the energy, but it was the community out there that did provide the $25,000, which I will say was the #1 city in the state for raising money this year.
That's
So
great. That's
that
great to
was
know.
Chief Phipps and Chief Murray's goal, and of course we blew it out of the water. So we were far ahead
Go to
of
Dearborn
number
Heights.
2 and 3.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know their numbers, but I think it was about $75,000 total raised, and we made 25. So
That's
I'd say
phenomenal.
we blew everyone else out of the water. Councilman Waffey was out there collecting,
Yes.
and the generosity of the Dearborn people. Some people gave 2-3 times. You know, every day they drove by and gave something. So appreciate that. Appreciate the council's support to be able to do that. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilman Swire. Councilman Pierce.
Thank you, Council President. A couple things I just wanted to go over. The last council meeting I made mention about the International Firefighters Day and wore my firefighter tie at that time. Sadly, though, just recently, I did not win the Camaro, and I wanted to make a complaint somewhere with somebody about that fact.
I haven't got my prize. I won some. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that
I
you
won a
won
grill.
Grill.
I'll take it. Yeah, yeah.
I want to make
Been
mention
12
though,
years.
too, that we just recently concluded National Police Week, and wearing my police tie today as a prior police officer myself, but, you know, keep in mind that we did lose 4 officers, both from Dearborn and Fortson, city of Fortson, in the line of duty that have passed, you know, during the, since 1929 on, and when Fortson just before that. But we've also lost a couple others that were either duty related or performing a function related to law enforcement. So we've had 6 that we want to, you know, memorialize and remember, you know, every year. But what I want to bring up is now that Police Week has ended, just giving recognition to the police department. They just had their national, or their yearly Police Officer of the Year awards. And Ali Katan was named Officer of the Year. I don't
Yeah,
know
we're
if the
gonna
chief wanted-
recognize them
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
But I just wanted to make sure that he got the recognition, and there's a
Yep.
lot of other officers in the department.
They're
and
still rolling them out.
dispatchers.
I don't know,
Yeah.
they're still, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you,
And it's
but they're
good-
out.
good to have them out.
Yeah, the police are rolling them out. We're going to get the list and recognize them all at the next meeting.
What I want to make mention to, that Veterans Day, you know, come out and show your support. Take a look at the flags that you have flying right now, or if you don't have one out, put out a good flag to represent us on that day, the veterans that have served. And take a look at a tattered flag, remove it. There's a lot of them out there. Really like to see a good showing of flags out, especially for this time of the year, and show your support. Maintain them. As far as Veterans Day ceremonies, we got 3 of the high schools. I'm not going to say who has the best high school, even though Dearborn High that I attended has the first ceremony at 9 a.m. tomorrow at Dearborn High School, followed by Thursday at Fortson High School at 9 o'clock, and then Edsel Ford has their ceremony at 7:50 a.m. on Friday, and the public is invited, you know, to those high schools for the ceremonies. And don't forget about the cleanup parades. I know the mayor, boy, he's getting all sorts of people wanting to see him there. The kids were great today at both Becker and Gear Park Elementaries. That a lot of people were attending today, so just want to say thank you and get out there for Veterans Day.
Thank you, Councilman Pierce. Anything else from my colleagues? All right, anything from the administration, Mayor?
I think what hasn't been discussed is Memorial Day, and so we have, joking. Memorial Day Parade is obviously Monday the 27th. As you might be aware, the parade is on the west side, west end from Michigan Avenue this year because of anticipated construction on the east end. We get the dates from the state, and so we plan accordingly. So it'll be very similar to last year, so we're really excited for Memorial Day Parade, as well as what we typically have the night before the Grand Marshal Dinner. And so just a reminder to council members that the Grand Marshal dinner is the night before Sunday evening, so please make sure that's on your calendar. Secondly, we completed the butterfly garden in the south end. If you haven't driven by it, it's behind Arabian Village. It's beautiful. We got a lot of employees to actually go out there and put some time into that garden with a lot of residential input. So it's beautiful to see, and we'll see more transformations like this across the city. And then, just as a reminder, the pools will be open. So you have Dunworth Pool and Ford Woods Pool, which will be open. Those are the two that are not going to be under construction this year. Summer Stevens, Ten Eyck, and the Pier Park Pool will be under construction this year. Therefore, they will be closed. So we got the $6 million grant from the state, which we're using to upgrade 3 pools that have not been touched in about 70 years. Another reminder, if your children 13 and under get free pool tags.
I did mention that, though.
I know. So if you want to buy the pool tags, come to the Ford Performing Arts Center. To get a pool tag after Memorial Day, you can go over to Dunworth Pool and also get your pool tag there. Then also the splash pads, all the splash pads are open with the exception of Morningside, the new one. The new one will be open fairly soon, but the other splash pads are all already open and operational with no issues, knocking on wood there. So just want to note that. We had some folks drive by Whitmore Bowls and it was already in full use, so excited to see that. Those are all the points that I had. And obviously, Fortson High School is the greatest high school in the world. Just as a reminder.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor. Anything from the clerk?
No, I just wanted to say thank you again for the Dearborn Firefighters Burn Drive. I also won.
Did you get your prize?
I didn't pick it up yet, but they tell me it's a $1,000 tattoo.
Oh.
So I'm gonna do one up my neck and on my face.
Put a ballot in it.
My face would look beautiful.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'd like to know where I got to call Pat D'Ambrosio, see how I'm going to get mine.
All right.
All right, Mr. Clerk.
So
All right,
thank you.
at this point, we are now in our second public comment section. At this time, anyone here to address the council regarding city business, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
I'd just like to recommend a public design competition for George's tattoo.
There you go. Jeez.
If you're willing to accept,
All right.
Kamal will match.
At this point, at this time, we have no one here for the public comment. I'll close that public comment area. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn by Councilman El Swafi. We are adjourned.